Meow, meow. Captain Dave here. If you haven't yet shared the stream, then you should go and do that.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Charlie and Mac did to the kids that stole their bike.
I know where you hide that shit.
Hey, you! Hello everyone and welcome back for another debate night. Monday nights I'm now going to be going over and having a chat with Flatzoid on the regular as, I fell out with Tartaria. So that's the plan from now on Monday. It's going to be a little bit earlier because Flatzoid over in New Zealand needs to be a little bit earlier. Just before we get started, I just want to say that one of the regular viewers, Requiem for a Dream, is watching this stream from his hospital bed after having surgery and recovering from some post-surgery infection. And I just want to say, dude, thinking about you. Thank you for still watching me whilst you're in the hospital. And I hope you recover soon. So thank you very much. But let's get on with it and go over and have a chat with Flatzoid. Flatzoid, hello, you there?
Hey. Hey, Craig, you muted, mate?
Oh, I've muted myself still. There we go. Sorry about that. Yep.
No stress. It actually helped for your intro music because usually when you have your intro music on it, it's because it's through Epidemic Sounds and I don't have any rights to it.
Yeah.
Then I have to mute the song.
I pay them, I think, $9.99 a month so I can use their music and sound bites and stuff. It makes editing a lot better. So yeah, just keep it muted during that part. That's the best thing to do. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Fantastic, thank you. Feeling a lot better lately.
That's good.
Losing all the weight makes me feel a lot healthier. So
yeah,
I'm enjoying that.
I see you've lost quite a lot though. You said you lost like what?
I've lost about 20 pounds in 2 weeks.
Brilliant.
It's slowed down now. Obviously, it's when I first started, it like fell off, but now it's kind of, leveled out a bit as I'm, my body's getting used to what I'm doing, but I'm feeling much better from it. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Someone said you don't like Pokemon.
I used to when I was younger, and then I ended up, when I found out it's all based on demons' names and stuff, and then, I ended up leaving it.
But Pikachu.
No, I was more of a Bulbasaur and Charmander kind of guy.
Yeah, I did have a good expensive deck back in the day because I'm a nerd. In case you didn't realize.
Well, we all had the cards, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right. So, we're gonna have a chat about Flat Earth versus Globe Earth, and then a bit later on, invite some other people on. Right?
Yeah.
Have you got anything specific that you'd like to talk about?
No, like I said in the pre-show, I am Didn't prepare anything for tonight. All I know is we're just going to chat about it, and we'll see how it goes. I think we'll make a more structured kind of thing as we go along.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of introducing people to what's going to be happening tonight. I'm looking forward to regularly chatting to you and your people, because it's always quite fun, even though we disagree fundamentally, and it can be passionate, shall we say. It's not too aggressive and unfriendly, so I don't mind it.
Yeah.
So last time we talked, we were talking about celestial navigation and globes and maps and stuff, and I've kind of got a concession to make, and that's you're right. A globe isn't technically a map. It's not considered a map, and there's reasons why. Because maps aren't able to show the entire world in a single scale, but a globe is. Maps are more detailed and allow for more accurate kind of navigation, but a globe is the only thing that shows the entire world in its accurate representation. So why isn't there a flat representation of the map that has everything correct, scale, distances between countries? Why is it the only thing that can do that is a globe?
The globe can't, and that's what I was trying to explain to you. If you have to take the middle of the ocean, if you're not going to work off of a grid system, you're not going to know the exact distance. Because I can tell you, okay, let's take 30 degrees east and 20 north, and then go to another thing. If you don't have that grid to work off of in the middle of the ocean, you're not going to get that distance. The only way you got that on the globe was because you had land references to work off of, because you had country to country. Now, if you had to do it in the middle of the ocean, how are you going to know where you are to do your distance?
So are you saying the globe doesn't have accurate distances across the ocean?
Not if you got no references, no.
Well, the globe has plenty of references, like cartography and distances travelled, and
go to the middle. Go to the middle of that.
Longitude and latitude as a grid system that works perfectly for a spherical coordinate system. But the globe does have accurate distances. You can test that. You can measure the distances on a globe between America and Africa, and that is the distance that it is in real life when you convert it with the scale.
Yeah, but like I said, now let's go to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. If you don't have your grid, how are you going to know where you are situated to give your distance?
Modern day, we can just so Atlantic Ocean, do you say? So up here. Modern day, there's many ways. I mean, you could use celestial navigation as a good way without other references, but modern day you've got GPS and stuff that can tell you where you are. You can almost figure things out with dead reckoning, but then you have to adjust it, and figure out, adjust what the difference between dead reckoning and real is after certain distances. But the globe has accurate distances. It is correct. If you were to say, get a boat, and you say, right, well, I need X amount of fuel to sail X amount of distances, the globe would tell you that distance correctly. And
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Dead reckoning, like I was saying the last time, dead reckoning works perfect, but it's based on previous already known locations.
Well, perfectly is a little bit of a misnomer, really, because it works in the sense that it can get you where you're going, but you have to constantly readjust yourself. You can use dead reckoning to point you in one direction and keep going, but then when you get to a certain position, you may be off, and you would then do another measurement and say, okay, well, we need to adjust our heading by X degrees and continue on that. The dead reckoning isn't always perfect because it's kind of a guess. It's what you use when you're struggling with other things. There's a lot more things about dead reckoning which we can talk about specifically with submarines, which helps with gravity, but the fact is that the globe does have accurate distances. If I can get with a tape measure like I did last time, and get from the side of China all the way over to the west coast of America, measure what that is, and then times it by the scale on here, and it's the accurate distance in real life.
Yeah, but exactly like I was saying, now if you have to do that, go to the middle of the Atlantic and say, go to a point in the Pacific. How are you going to get that distance without the grid on your globe ball?
So you want me to figure out the distance between somewhere on the Atlantic Ocean and somewhere on the Pacific Ocean?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna work with the grid, and then I'm gonna ask you to try locate that on your globe that you got in your hand. How's that sound? Is
Well,
that fine?
I mean, this is very, this is 1 to 125 million scale, so it's, it's very hard to find a pinpoint place. But like we showed last time, if you give me two very specific locations that I can find on here, I can get the accurate distance between them. But
okay, let's go 37 west. 37 west.
yeah, again,
let's go
this,
dead
as we
37
discussed
west.
last time, this globe doesn't have a grid system on it, but I can still
Yeah,
calculate
and that's my
accurate
point.
distances with it.
And that's my point. And that's my point. Because it doesn't have a grid system on, over the ocean, you're not going to know the distances. You need to have the land as references to know your distances. If you didn't have references like the grid, you're not going to know where it is, and therefore it cannot be considered a map because you have to know.
I agreed with you that
references for a map.
Not technically a map. I made that concession
Yeah.
that a globe is not
Yeah.
technically a map because maps inherently have distortions in them to represent what is a spherical thing on a flat plane. And regardless of whether there's a grid system or not on here, if I was to find the distance between Hawaii and China, I can tell you exactly how far it is between those 2 points. All right?
Yeah,
I could not use
reference.
I couldn't go, well, this is 37 west, 42 east or whatever. I couldn't do that because this doesn't have the grid system on. But if I was to say that point there, whatever that is, between that point there, whatever that is X distance, and it would match real life. So whether there's a grid system or not on there is irrelevant. The fact is that the distances across the ocean between the land masses on the globe are correct, but there is no flat representation of the entire world that has the accurate sizes of countries and distances between them. The globe is the only thing that has that.
I agree. There's no actual accurate one. Not even a globe, actually. Like I said, to a point, yes, but it doesn't make it a globe, though. That's just a verification fallacy.
What do you mean it doesn't make it a globe? This is a globe.
And you can't get pinpoint accuracy.
Well, if I had a bigger globe than the one this is 1 to 125 million scale. If I had a bigger one to say to, I don't know, 25 million scale that had a latitude, longitude onto it, I could pinpoint any location on the world, and I could use a tape measure to go, well, between latitude point A and latitude point B, it is X centimeters, and if I times that by the scale on the globe, it shows you what the distance is in real life. And that's the great thing about any globe, is that it only needs one scale. All right? One scale. For any point, no matter where you are, one scale works for the globe that you have. But there is no flat representation of the Earth that has an accurate scale. Maps will inherently have different scales for different proportions of the land, because you can't have one scale for the entire Earth on a flat map. You can only do that on a globe.
Yeah, that's why I'm also saying when it comes to navigation, celestial navigation, nautical navigation, we use nautical charts for a reason, because it's all got to do with sectional maps. That's what makes it accurate enough, because it's all sectional.
Yeah, there's still inherently distortions in them, though, that you have to account for.
But they're accurate enough. But they're accurate enough to be able to navigate. Correct?
Yeah, but with the transformations applied, because you know what the distortion is, right? So when you know what the distortion is, you take that into account. But you can also do celestial navigation just with the globe. You don't necessarily have to use nautical charts. You could just use it with the latitude, longitude position for the globe and calculate it that way. And it would be perfect every time. You wouldn't even need to use the transformations.
Then why do all the navies not sail with globes? Why don't they? Why are they all using nautical charts then?
Modern navies actually have computer programs that are the entire globe displayed on a screen. But usually back in the day when it would be used with nautical charts is because charts are charts and maps. Charts are maps for the sea basically, but charts are and maps are able to show a lot more detail, because you can do you could make a smaller area much larger with a map, and that's a lot easier to do than with a globe. A globe you can't fold up and put in your pocket and take around, but maps are easier to use because you can section them off and use them for particular areas and have a scale that works pretty roughly for that map. But if you were to have the same detail on a map for an area on a globe, that globe would be too big and impractical to take around and use.
Yeah, because a globe's supposed to be the whole map as a whole, you could say.
Yeah, it shows the entire world as it is, to
Not actually,
scale.
it doesn't show it as it is. It just shows the distances compared to how we
What do you
measured
mean it
it.
doesn't show it as
And
it
those
is?
measurements are based on a horizontal.
Which measurements?
All measurements.
All measurements are based on a
We talk about
horizontal.
nautical navigation now, correct?
Well, no, we're just talking about globes versus maps, really, at this point, and why they're, I'm not denying that it's, you can use a flat map to successfully navigate because they are designed for that. And, with celestial navigation specifically, you have to take the transformations into account. But a map will display a small enough area that any errors are, negligible. That's why you can have, different scales for different size maps. But you don't need that with a globe. But modern day ship systems will, as well as the paper maps and everything, they will have a computer that has a representation of the entire globe that they can just zoom into to show them where they are at any time.
Yes.
And that's,
So you
that's the
understand-
only thing that
You understand how the
Sorry.
programs work, though? It's not the
They show
grid.
the globe,
Remember, it's
yeah.
just following a grid system. The grid system is based on flat. The
No,
globe.
it's a globe. It's just a spherical
the
globe
globe
with
image-
the coordinate system around it.
Yeah. The globe image is just for how can I put it? Graphics sake. It's the data is based on the grid system, which is flat.
No, the data's that's not how it works. The grid system is just put onto it so that they've got a reference for latitude and longitude. The data that it gets is actually derived from military satellites and things like that.
No,
So-
the latitudes and longitudes were based from Aristophanes' time. Remember when he actually invented Father of Geography? I brought up the citations for
again,
that.
but that latitude and his version of the grid system was nothing like modern latitude and longitude. I mean, his had wiggly lines and all sorts, but it was.
I
and that
agree
was,
they
and that was
updated it.
after he did his experiment, way after he did his experiment. But that doesn't change the fact that the grid system, the latitude longitude system, can just be put on a sphere. You can put that on any sphere, all right? And
You can put it on a triangle if you wanted to.
yeah,
It's
but
just a grid.
the way it works on the globe with it, getting the latitude lines getting smaller when you move away from the pole, the circumference of them getting smaller, is what we have in real life. That matches real life.
And how did they measure these latitude lines to get smaller? These longitude
They-
lines to get smaller.
What do you mean? How do they measure them to get smaller? They are smaller.
How did they measure them?
circumference lines, because we know the accurate distances around the world. We know, so if we were
How
if we were to take the globe, we know what the distance is from on the equator from South America to Africa, right? We know what that distance is. The same way that if we go up and we did between the coast of Canada to the coast of UK, we know what that distance is, right? And it will match what it says on the grid system. It will have the correct latitude and longitude based on the distance that we have. So we know
but like I'm
what the circumference of each one is. Because we know
but
the
like I'm-
distance. If we were to take the difference from this point in North America to all the way round to this point in North America right next to it, that would be the circumference of that latitude line.
How did they measure it? That's what I'm asking.
Because we know the accurate distances around the world. And
Yeah, but
it
how did they
matches.
measure it? I'm asking how did they measure
How
it
did they
to
measure
get those
what? The
distances?
Earth?
You just said that's very accurate. So how did they measure it to get those accurate distances?
How do they measure what? The Earth? Or
It's called cartography. It's
yeah,
called
I know.
cartography.
I'm
for
just
a
trying to
reason.
clarify your question. What do you mean? How did they measure it? Are we
How is
talking about-
cartography done?
Well, usually by sailing around and physically mapping it out as you went. Back in the old days, nowadays it's done with satellites mostly. In fact, pretty much exclusively.
So the satellites are just based off the grid system that already exists.
No, the satellites are up there mapping it in real time.
Yeah, it
They're not
follows the
based
grid
off of
system that
anything.
already exists. So it's got its
No,
preset data.
Then the satellites
That's
are
how
in
that's
space
how that's how
getting
a
data and
satellite
sending it down. They're
works.
taking pictures and going, oh, here's what the real coastline looks like in real time. Here's the data for that.
Again, like I said, it's done with cartography. That's how they mapped everything out. Do you know how
Originally, yeah,
cartography
back
is
in the
done?
day. Nowadays, they just use much more accurate methods like, satellite and radar measurements. Cartography it's a much... to do basic cartography like sailing around and physically mapping out, that's old style. That's not what they do anymore. Cartography nowadays is done from space.
Okay, but what's cartography done optically?
What's cartography done optically? What does that sentence even mean?
Did they use things like theodolites? I can never pronounce the bloody word. Theodolites and things.
Well, no, for cartography, no, they wouldn't. They would literally sail around the coastline and draw what they were sailing around and compare it to the distances that they knew they travelled. For more intricate mapping and stuff, they might have used theodolites and stuff on sea, but I mean, they did cartography before theodolites existed. Now you've got me struggling to say that bloody word. Theodolite.
But yeah, the cartographers were always done with optical measurements. Even when they were at sea, they used the things like before the sextant, they used the Kamal and the what's the name? The one that wasn't very accurate because of the moving. Can't think of the name now, but the Muslims used it a lot. But anyway, it was all optical based measurements. That's how they did their cartography. It's based on optical measurements. That's based on a horizontal
even
baseline.
before they had kind of optical things, they did cartography. They did cartography thousands of years ago, literally by sailing at the coastline and drawing out what they sailed. Then in later times it advanced and they started using some optical instruments to measure distance from where they were on their ship. And now modern days we use things like satellites and stuff. Cartography has advanced over time, but that's irrelevant to what we know now. I don't care about what's happened in the past. I care about now that we can accurately map the world and that the globe is the thing that has the accurate representation of the Earth.
Okay, yeah, it's an astrolabe. That's the name. Thanks, guys.
Astrolabe,
yeah, so like I said, do you think the grid system wasn't accurate when they did do it optically?
Again, the grid system is irrelevant.
That's how the grid system's measured. It was based on measurement, optical measurement. That's what cartography was.
You're kind of missing the entire point. The grid system is irrelevant to the fact that the globe has accurate distances. You don't even need a grid system on it, and it still has accurate distances between any 2 points.
Okay, so if I had to place that grid system on a pineapple, and between each grid, it shows the correct distances, does it make the Earth a pineapple?
Well, it wouldn't, because it would be distorted, because the correct shape is a sphere.
No, remember, the grid is
again,
a point
like
A
I said,
to
the grid's irrelevant. We don't need
it's
the
Cartesian.
grid.
It's just Cartesian. It's point A to point B grid. Let's say you take one block grid, A to B, and you place that onto a shape. Now, it distorts that shape. It doesn't matter if it's distorting that block on the shape. The distance, the data of that distance stays the same. It doesn't matter which shape you place that grid onto. You understand?
Again, the grid's
it doesn't make it a globe because you place the grid onto a globe.
Again, I don't care about the grid. The grid is irrelevant to an accurate representation of the Earth.
Your globe is based on the grid.
No, it's not. The globe existed
globe wouldn't
before the
exist
grid.
without the grid.
The globe wouldn't exist without the grid. The globe existed before the grid.
Okay, who invented the globe?
Who invented the globe? Well, there was versions of the globe 3,000 years ago.
Can you show me this?
I can show you papers and stuff. I can't show you a physical one because I don't think it exists anymore. But there's records of globes, although not completely accurate ones, existing 3,000 years ago because we knew the Earth was a globe back then, and they'd mapped, a proportion of the world. But again, all of this is completely irrelevant to the fact that now, today, the globe, with a grid system or not, has an accurate representation of the countries, their sizes, and the distances between them. We don't need to talk about the grid system because that's irrelevant.
You still don't get it. You still don't get it. Even your GPS satellites, the data they use are based on the Cartesian coordinates from your grid.
Yeah,
you can place it on a triangle if you wanted to. You get
I
exactly
don't
the
care
same
about the grid. We're not
data.
talking about the grid. Like,
It
again,
is. Your globe is made from the
This
grid,
does not have a grid on
Craig.
it. This does not have a grid on it, right? But it is still an accurate representation of the land masses on the Earth and the distances between them. It doesn't have a grid on it.
So you saying your globe doesn't need a grid?
No, the globe does not need a grid. The globe can exist without the coordinate
So what's a latitude?
system.
What's a latitude and longitude then on your globe?
Well, latitude and longitude is a grid system. I don't need to use that.
So if there's no latitude and longitude, then there's no grid, then aka no globe. That's what your
No,
globe
again,
is.
the globe can exist without the grid. We don't need the grid. The globe still exists, and I can still calculate accurate distances between any 2 points on the globe without a grid system.
False.
As long as I know where those 2 points are.
Again, your globe cannot exist without having the grid system because that is
Incorrect.
what your
This
grid
doesn't
system.
have a grid system on it, and it's existing
That's a
in my
toy.
hand.
Yeah, it's a toy
It's an
globe. that's
accurate
already
representation
based-
of the Earth, and it has no
it's
grid
already-
system on it.
Listen, that globe in your hand, that toy, is already to scale based on the grid system.
There's no grid system on it.
Yeah,
The
they didn't
scale, the
print
scale's
grid
nothing to
system
do with
on
the
it,
grid system
doesn't-
either. No, hold on. The scale is
Just 'cause
nothing to
they're-
do with the grid system.
Just because they didn't print the grid system on it doesn't mean that globe you're holding in your hand is not based on the grid
Have
system.
you got any evidence that this globe is based on the grid system, or can the globe exist without the grid system?
Yes.
Can I have a
Yes.
ball, right? Can I have a ball in my hand and it exist as a shape without a grid system on it?
A ball is not a claim of the globe.
No,
and distances
a
with-
simple question. Can I have a ball and it be
It's a false
a ball,
equivalence.
a 3D shape? No, it's not. Just go with me. Can I
It
have
is
a
a
ball?
false equivalence.
Just go with me, right? Can I have a ball? Just any ball without a grid system and it still be a ball? Yes or no?
It's still a ball, but that's a
right,
false
brilliant.
equivalence.
Next question, right? Could I take any 2 points on that ball and calculate the distances between them?
But what land masses are on that ball?
I didn't say there's land masses on the ball. I'm just saying
Then
2
it's a false
points on that
equivalence.
ball. No, it's not. Can I
Then
take any
it
2
is.
points?
Remember, your
I
ball.
I don't
remember,
even
you
need
take-
the land masses. I can take 2 points in the ocean as long as I know where they are. And if I got something marked here and something marked here, I can measure it, times it by the scale, and it's the accurate distance that matches in
Okay.
real life. The grid system
Okay.
is irrelevant.
Show me 30-degree latitude on that ball quickly.
No, that's a grid system.
exactly.
I don't
Where's
care
the-
about the grid system. We're not talking about the grid system. I don't need the grid system. The grid system, I would need to find 30 degrees latitude because that's the grid system. But I don't want the grid system. I'm not using the grid system. I can just say the distance between X address in New York and X address in California is X, and that will be accurate in real life based on this. It doesn't
Great,
matter
so-
if there's a grid or not.
So we can say then I can measure the one side of my living room to the other. No grid system required. Therefore, it proves that my Earth is just my living room.
Incorrect, because you cannot take a scale model of your living room and do the same thing. The scale model on here, which I showed you last time, I laid a tape measure across the surface of it, which is curved, and measured how many centimeters that was, converted it, times it by the scale, and got the accurate distance between the two
Okay.
parts. That is nothing to
Okay.
do with a living room, because your living room is not a scale model of the world. This
Okay,
is.
then I'm going to ask you, based on celestial navigation now, please get me a line of position without your grid system.
I'm not talking about celestial navigation.
But we're navigating the globe now. Remember, it's supposed to be an accurate map. So that means navigation.
Okay, no, did you forget what I said at the beginning? That I concede the globe is not a map because maps inherently have distortions. The globe does not. So yes, this is not a map, and it's not generally used with celestial navigation to find your position. You can do it, and it's a lot more accurate. You don't need to use the transformations, but it is also what modern military use based on real-time data from satellites. Remember, I was military, and I've literally done that.
And the satellite's data works off of the grid.
No, the satellites just look at what's there.
Can you show me one satellite data that does not have grid system data into it?
Just if it has a grid system on it, that doesn't mean it's based on a grid system. It just uses the grid system because everything else uses the grid system, and it's a good thing to reference to each other. It doesn't mean that the satellite is based on the grid system. The satellite is simply orbiting the Earth, taking pictures, and sending them to the military.
But based on your
interestingly
logic,
enough, the British military satellites is in a system called Skynet, which is a really fucking stupid idea. I'm not even joking.
Terminator.
I'm not even joking. In 2002, the British military launched a new communication system, and they called it Skynet. Whose idea was that?
Terminator fans. But like I'm saying, you're missing the point here. If you just had, by your logic, you can just shoot the satellites into the sky and say, don't work off the grid, but know where you are.
Well, yeah, we could just put them in a particular orbit. We don't necessarily need a grid system to calculate orbital mechanics. We just know what the Earth's radius is, and do it based on that and Newton's laws.
That's false, though, because you would need to do different tangential speeds.
Yeah, you don't need a grid system to calculate tangential
by latitude.
speeds.
You do know that, because if you don't have the grid system, you won't know what tangential velocity you need to get.
You can still calculate the circumference around a certain point without a grid system.
And that's already a grid system. A circumference is a grid.
A circumference is not a grid.
So it's got a radius to a circumference. That's not a grid. From point A to point B. That's a grid, mate. That's what a grid means.
Sorry, radius to circumference is a grid.
Point A to point B, it's a grid. You're following the radius to the circumference. That's a grid, mate. If you're using it to
following
plot
a radius
out,
to a circumference. What are you talking about? That's not a grid. Calculating a circumference from a radius is not a grid. That's just basic maths.
Okay, if you're planning to launch a satellite onto a point using a circumference, that's using a grid, mate. That's what it means.
Sorry, if you're launching it onto a circumference, it's using a grid. A circumference is not a grid. I don't know where you got that.
Okay, let's do it this way.
Do you not know the difference between a grid and a ratio?
Let's do it this way. Please launch a satellite without having any grid system, anything. Just having a circumference, please.
Cool. Yeah, I don't need a grid system to launch a satellite into space. It's still going to go into space without the grid system existing.
No, okay, that's begging the question. But anyway,
no, it's not begging the question. You asked me to do that, and I said, yeah, it could be done.
First of all, satellites don't go to space. Second of all, your satellites are based on a grid. Do you know your so-called satellites
can I have any citation that says satellites are based on a grid? Or are satellites just something that goes into space and orbits the Earth?
Your satellites cannot function without working off of the grid system. They work off the latitude and longitude system. If they do not have it,
that's
they cannot
just what
function.
The rest of the world uses, but it's not necessary for them to function. They can still orbit the Earth and send you data without a grid system existing.
To get them to that orbit, they require to have the grid to know where to orbit to.
No, they don't. The grid system
sending,
again
it's
can
like
exist.
sending,
It's separate
it's like sending
to
someone.
the Earth.
It's like saying you live in China and you're sending someone to go to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and expect them to pinpoint the middle of the Atlantic Ocean without a grid.
No, a grid will absolutely be able to help you do that 100%. But it doesn't stop the Earth existing without the grid. The globe existed before a grid system existed. Let's say that latitude and longitude was first kind of introduced as a concept, around the time of Eratosthenes after he did his experiment, all right? Well, great, that's like 3,000 years ago, whatever. The Earth still existed before that point. So the globe which it is, existed before there was even any talk of creating any kind of grid system. It was still a thing, and it can continue to exist without the grid system. And I can still accurately calculate the distance between any 2 points with nothing but the globe, as long as I know where those 2 points are.
Again, point A to point B is a grid system.
No, it's not.
That point A to point B, based on your grid, can be placed on any shape. It doesn't make the
What
shape
do you mean point A to
true.
point B is a grid
it
system?
means the grid. It means the measured grid is true, not the shape
So
you place
what
the
do you
grid
mean?
upon.
I need you to clarify. What do you mean that point A to point B is a grid system? That's
Latitude
point
and
A-
longitudes are grids. It's a
yeah.
grid.
Point A to point B
system.
can exist without latitude and longitude.
Not actually.
Yeah, I could draw in this bit of paper point A and point B. The distance between them will exist without a longitude and latitude. I can just draw a
That's
line
not on a
between
shape.
them and measure it.
Is that on a shape?
I can do it with this ball. I could, mark point A and point B and then measure the distance between it. I don't need a grid system to do that.
Great. And so you can get exactly the same distance. The one was on a flat paper and the one was on a globe. You get exactly
Well, no,
the same
it would be
distance,
different
correct?
point A's to point B's. But my point, what I was demonstrating there is that point A to point B can exist independently of a grid system. I don't even understand what you mean. What do you mean point A to point B is a grid system? That sentence does not make sense.
Take the grid system.
Which grid system?
Lay it flat. Take the Mercator projection. But you take Mercator out. It's just the grid.
So an
Now you lay
equirectangular
that
map.
grid. Now you lay that grid on a donkey. It will map out around the donkey. The A to point B distances between each latitude and longitude stay exactly the same distance because it's literally just a grid.
Yeah, but you can't just right. But if you were to right, so if I was to lay a grid on this, right, with the land masses on it, and then take that grid off with the land masses and lay it over a donkey, right? What I could not do then is go, oh, well, here's point on the donkey A and here's point on donkey B. Get a tape measure and say, oh, that's this much, and that matches real life. Because the shapes of the land masses and everything will now be distorted on that donkey compared to the globe. Because, grid system or not, the globe is the only thing that has the accurate size and shape of the countries and the distances between them. It's the only thing. Every single country is exactly as they are.
Sorry, that's why you got transformations. Just
yeah,
like
but that's
on
the
your
point.
globe,
You don't need a transformation for the globe because it's accurate.
then why do the longitudes get smaller?
Because that matches reality.
That's called transformations, mate.
Well, no, that's just reality. The latitude and line get smaller as you go north and south. That's just what it is. That matches reality. If you were to sail the circumference of each one, it would be smaller and smaller and smaller because that's what it is in reality.
Again, you can take
I
that
don't think you
exact
know what a
grid
transformation
and
is
you can
either.
stick it on a pineapple and get exactly the same result.
No, you can't, because on the
you-
pineapple, the distances will not be correct between point A with a scale that is the same for the entire thing. The land masses on that pineapple will no longer accurately represent reality. The only thing that accurately represents reality is the globe. This is what it looks like. If you were to take the land masses and shrink them down by 125 million times, they would fit exactly on this globe in my hand.
You can do that on a pear if you wanted to. You can do it on a
No,
pineapple.
you can't,
You're
because
gonna get the
it won't
same
be an accurate
distances.
representation. That's what you're missing.
Well,
Any other shape apart from a sphere will not have an accurate representation of the land masses on it. Regardless of the grid system, any other shape than the sphere will not show the countries as they are in real life to scale.
Again, the grid is perfect. What shape you lay it on doesn't make the grid not perfect. It just makes your shape a fallacy. It makes a reification
Shapes aren't a fallacy. What don't you get? I don't need any transformations to see what the size and shape of the countries are. This is
It's
the
a-
size and the shape of the countries. The grid system is irrelevant. I can remove the grid system from the equation completely, and then I can take the entire People's Republic of China and shrink it down 125 million times and go, oh, look, that matches that exactly, because it
You're
will.
not getting it, mate.
I don't think
just
you're
not
getting
getting
it.
it.
This is the
If you get-
accurate representation of the world.
Let's
Without,
take-
you don't need
let's-
the grid system.
Let's take one block out of that grid system. Just one block.
What
that
grid
makes
system? I don't have a
between-
grid system. I'm not using the grid system.
Let's just take one block out of that grid system. And now you take that block and you place it on a rugby ball.
Yep. Now
Okay.
the shape of the country
It
will
would-
now be
listen,
distorted.
listen. It looks distorted, correct?
The shape of the
But
country
it's a
will now be
grid.
distorted.
Listen,
Yes.
it's a grid. You know that same block, no matter which shape you place it on, the distance is the same.
Yeah, because
if
now
it's-
that you have to use the transformation
Listen,
to calculate
if
the
it
distance, I'm agreeing
represents,
with you. Yeah.
if it represents, if that one block represents 1,000 kilometers on a soccer ball, it's going to represent 1,000 kilometers on a basketball. It's going to represent 1,000 kilometers on a donkey.
No, incorrect.
1,000 kilometers
No,
on
incorrect.
a pineapple because
Incorrect.
it's based on
This is-
the
no, this is
grid
incorrect.
system.
The distance will not be the same. The scale will not be the same. All right. You will not be
It's
able to
the
have.
grid.
Yeah, but hold on. You will not be able to have an accurate scale for every point of that grid system. You know, you're talking about just one block, right? Now take the rest of the blocks and put it on, right? There's no longer an accurate scale, okay? And this is not. This is what you're not getting. The grid system is irrelevant. The grid system is just something to help us navigate. Yes, within that grid system, you know, if on the equator we take this point on the grid system, we can then take that and put it on a flat plane, and it will still be, you know, the same. You know, that's what it's representing. But on the flat paper, it won't be in real life accurate representation of the shape of that area. It will be distorted. There will be distortions involved. There won't be a scale that is accurate to the rest of the world. And this is what you're not getting. Wait, hold on. This is what you're not getting. The grid is irrelevant. All right? We don't need to talk about the grid. The only thing that's important is that the globe accurately represents all the distances between every point in the world. The grid's irrelevant. You don't need that. All you need is the globe because it's accurate.
Okay, let me try and explain it another way. When you were younger, have you ever play like Vice City or GTA or something, and you wanted to
Look
put
at me. What do you
skins
fucking think?
on, and you put skins on? Do you know how the skins work when they created the skins?
It's texture mapping that you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, it's based on a grid.
Well, not really how texture mapping works necessarily.
The nodes are based on a grid, mate. That's how it's based, and then it's laid down on the model.
It's a bit more complicated than that.
Now,
for,
did it change the
3D
geometry?
animation.
Did it change the geometry and the distances of the grid, or did it just keep the nodes?
No one's saying it
with
does.
the
What
ratios?
it would do is change the distortion level. All right, the distortion level on this is 0. All right, the distortion level on anything else is more than 0. This does not need to be distorted to have the land masses on it in their accurate orientation, with their accurate shapes and sizes, with the accurate amount of oceans between them. I don't need to do any distortions. It doesn't matter. Yes, I can take the skin of this off and distort it and put it on something else, but it will be distorted. You don't need to distort this because it accurately represents reality.
No. Okay. Let's move back to how they measured your Earth, Craig. Do you understand how they measured your Earth? Because you said they saw it as a globe 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, we've known it
How
was a
did they
globe for a
measure
long
it?
time.
How did they measure this globe to know it's a globe?
Well, Eratosthenes was the first one to attempt to measure the radius.
Okay, so
That I know
before
of.
him you said they knew it was a globe. How did they
Yeah,
do the
based on
mapping if
simple
they didn't have the
observations.
radius?
They
How
didn't.
did they
They
do
didn't really know the radius. They just knew it was a globe and that there was land masses on it. They had some guesses, but they didn't really know the radius, as far as I know. But again, this is all irrelevant, and you're taking
Okay.
us off on a tangent.
Okay.
3,000
No,
years
no.
ago is
Still the
irrelevant
same.
to now. What is today
Okay.
in real life? All right, in
Listen,
real life,
okay.
right now, in this very second, this accurately represents the Earth. That's all that matters.
Okay, now we have Aristophanes, okay? You say he measured the radius. How did he measure the radius?
We talked about this using the Eratosthenes experiment.
What's the Eratosthenes experiment?
Well, he measured the angular shadows between Alexandria and Syene.
And the wells? Or was it sticks and
Well, there
shadows?
was one well.
Well, we keep getting different stories that sometimes it's sticks and shadows and sometimes it's a well and shadows.
Well,
Would you be able to
what
tell
you
us
do-
which one it was?
I mean, you obviously you've got the story confused. So, what Eratosthenes noticed was that at solar noon in one of the areas, the sun was directly above the well, and as it moved away, it created a shadow, and that kind of gave him an idea, right? So then he hired somebody to pace out the distance between Alexandria and Syene, right? To literally march it out. So he knew what the distance between Alexandria and Syene was in whatever unit of measurement they used back then. And then at solar noon at both points, measured the angle that the sun made on a stick. You know, you're getting the whole story confused. But
Okay,
again,
cool.
all of that
So-
is a
so
little
you
bit
can-
irrelevant to modern day. We don't need to talk about
Okay.
what Eratosthenes
I
did.
know,
We just need to
no,
talk
but
about
this is
right
where
now.
it all started. This is where your globe started.
But
So
it's
we have
irrelevant.
to
It
start
doesn't matter to today. We don't
because
need
you don't
that, right?
understand today. Today's data is based off of those assumptions that were placed in optical
No,
measurements.
we've got much better ways
And
of
what
getting the
I'm
data
trying
now.
and what I'm trying to get at is, can you ever show me Aristophanes ever existing?
I don't know. Well, there's records of him existing, but you know, can you ever show me
Where-
that Jesus existed? No.
Where's there?
You know,
Yes, there's a lot of documentation that Jesus existed.
there's a lot of documentation that
Aristophanes on
Eratosthenes
the-
existed. So
The
you know,
Aristophanes, no, there's no documentation Aristophanes.
well, there's books that he
Nothing.
wrote, which is pretty good documentation.
No, there were people that made him up hundreds of years later.
There's people that made Jesus up, but the
No,
Eratosthenes,
there's
there's just as much
actual
evidence that Eratosthenes
documentation.
existed as Jesus existed. All right.
There's actual documentation Jesus existed.
Yeah, and there's
by
documentation
different-
Eratosthenes existed.
Even people.
But again,
was-
this is all completely irrelevant to
Dude,
today,
you totally-
right? We
no,
don't
no,
need
no, no.
any of that today. We've
you're
got satellites in space
You're running
that
around
can
the bush
measure.
here. You're running around the bush here because your belief system of your globe is based
don't have
on
a
a
belief
fictional
system.
character.
Again,
based
I
on a
don't have
fictional
a belief system,
character.
and that is all irrelevant, right? I don't care what Eratosthenes did 3,000 years ago. It doesn't matter to me.
didn't
I
exist.
really, really don't care.
How did?
All right? Again,
That's my point. How
I
did
really
someone
don't
who
care.
didn't exist? How did
again,
someone who didn't exist? How did
The
someone who
origin
didn't
fa-
exist?
you're just
be-
using the origin fallacy, and I really
Listen,
don't care. It's
listen.
irrelevant to
How
me.
did? Listen. How did someone who didn't exist?
I really
do a
don't care about Eratosthenes.
Not do an experiment because it's not scientific to measure the globe. And
Again,
the funny thing is that the radius
I don't
today
care
is
about
based on that
Eratosthenes.
exact
It doesn't matter. It's
on
irrelevant.
that grid, and that's based on that exact grid from a person that never existed.
Yeah, okay, it was not. It's a very different grid to what he came up with. But again,
Latitude and longitudes, he came up with it. So
yeah,
what's
again,
different about the
his version of latitude and
today?
longitude is very different to what we have now.
Can you
realise
show
that,
us?
right? Well, his had like
Can you show us
squiggly
how it's
lines and
different?
stuff all over the place.
Can you show us how it's different?
Well, yeah, it had squiggly lines and stuff, whereas it
Can
doesn't.
you show us? Can you show us how it's different? I'd like to see this.
Well, sure, I'll send you some documentation. I don't have it with me right now.
Yeah, I
but
can
I've-
show.
I've been-
Well, like
yeah,
I
but
said,
hi-
you make a
his latitude
claim.
and longitude was not what we have now. It's not the same thing, all right? But again,
I would love to see
all
that.
of this is irrelevant, all right? I don't need Eratosthenes.
It's not irrelevant.
It is. I don't need Eratosthenes. I don't need the grid system. I just need what we can do nowadays. We've got shit in orbit above the planet, whether you believe it or not, taking real-time data showing us that this is the globe. We've got much better
False.
ways of mapping out the globe. Radar, GPS, many other ways to actually see what is going on. Satellites that are, way away, satellites that are close. We've got much better ways of mapping out the globe. I don't care what happened in the past. That does not matter to me. What matters right now, today, is that this accurately represents the land masses. It doesn't matter how it came about. That's irrelevant to me. What matters is that there is a scale model. This is exactly 1 to 125 million times scale model of the Earth. Exactly as the land masses are in real life. Exactly as the distances between them over the oceans are. That's all that matters. There's no distortion needed.
Have you been able to bring up anybody taking photos of satellites in space?
No, because people don't usually go around in space with the satellites.
How much satellites are supposedly floating around in space?
I mean, this is irrelevant, but quite a lot of them.
Okay, and they are in front between the Earth and the Moon and Sun, correct?
There's some that are way further out.
So tell me why no one's been able to pick any of them up.
What do you mean pick any of them up? You can't pick them up from the ground when they're in space.
But you guys claim there's satellites there, so
What do you mean
it
pick
should
them
be
up
able
as
to be
in
seen.
Oh, no.
With a telescope.
Well, I can see the Starlink satellites all the time with my telescope. I can the ISS is a really good satellite that I can quite often see with my telescope, and you can literally track the most of the satellites in the world with your own equipment if you've got good enough stuff. Just go to Astronomy Live on Twitter.
Okay.
He does it all of the time.
Okay, I got an idea. Quickly go on a site and see which GPS satellites are active right now, and then challenge anybody on your side or my side to go with your telescope or anything and see if you can actually see them when you track them.
Your telescope probably wouldn't be big enough to see a GPS satellite. They're like the size of a washing machine. But you could track them with radar.
So then it's faith then. So it's faith that
No, again, you could track them with radar. You can triangulate this where the signals are coming from. Faith isn't required. The signal's coming from space.
No, it's not, because space...
Oh, absolutely is, because airplanes have their GPS
space violates,
signals on, receivers on
space
the top.
violates a natural law.
Absolutely does not in the slightest, because gravity's the thing.
Oh, you want to get on gravity? We can do that.
Gravity's easily verified.
You would lose very bad. Okay,
well,
give me the scientific hypothesis for gravity, please.
What do you mean the scientific hypothesis for gravity? That's not how that works.
Okay, so we admit then gravity's not scientific.
No, the way that you're asking the question isn't how it works. You don't start with a hypothesis. You start with an observation, don't you?
That's what a hypothesis is based on, yeah? So you observed gravity.
Yeah. So,
okay, then let's do
wait,
this.
so just before we move on...
please tell me...
Just before we move on, just to finish up
how did you
subject,
observe gravity?
Hold on. Just before we move on, just want to finish up the subject we were talking about. Do you agree that the globe is the only accurate representation that requires a single scale of the Earth?
No, because it's a grid.
This isn't a grid.
No, your globe is based from a grid.
That wasn't the question that I asked.
We've been through this.
Again, that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question that I asked. The question that I asked is, do you agree that the globe has an accurate representation of the countries, the land masses, and the oceans? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You agree with that? And
okay.
do you also agree that there is no flat representation of the Earth with the accurate sizes of land masses and the distances between them?
I disagree.
So could you show me the flat representation of Earth with the accurate land masses then, please?
Everyone that's got a grid system.
No, that doesn't have the accurate size of the land masses on them, like we discussed.
You
could not take
point A to point B. Point A to point B always has the same distance.
It has to have the entire Earth, right? I want a flat representation of the entire Earth. You're avoiding my question. A flat representation of the entire Earth that has accurate land masses.
I'm trying to explain this to you in very simple terms. The grid stays the same distance.
Yeah, I don't care about the grid. I want the land masses.
Listen. No matter what shape you put onto it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't distort the. Listen, it doesn't distort the distances. It distorts the shape.
Yeah. Again, I don't care about the grid. I want like I can with the globe. I can use a tape measure and go. This is the distance.
Comes to this. I'm sorry.
With the globe, I can get a tape measure and I can measure between point A and point B, and I can say times it by 125 million, and I've got the accurate distances between point A and point B. Is there any map that you can do that with?
Look, this should represent grids. Now, what happens when I
Could you answer the question? Is there any map? Is there any map in the world that represents the entire planet? Right. Please just listen to the question. Right. Is there any flat map of the grid? Please hold on. Right. Is there any flat map of the entire planet? Let me ask my question, please. Right. Is there any flat map of the entire world that you can get a ruler or a tape measure the distances between 2 points, times that by a scale, and get the accurate distance? Yes or no?
I don't need to, because I'm explaining the grid. Okay, look here. You see this?
So what you're saying is it has distortions then to fill
Listen,
a flat map.
it represents a grid. Okay. Now each block here would represent, let's say, 50 kilometers. Now I'm going to
It
distort
wouldn't.
it onto a shape. Listen, each grid
Not on Earth, that wouldn't work.
is still 50 kilometers in each block. It's the
Yeah.
grid, not
Yeah,
the shape.
and then could
The
you take a
shape,
ruler?
you
Could you
can
take a ruler and measure it?
Listen. Your
And that's
visual
literally not how it works
drawing,
either.
your visual drawing of your globe is a reification fallacy.
No, it's not.
The
Reification
grid
fallacy. It
system
matches
is
reality.
The grid is accurate. The shape is not.
This shape is. This shape is accurate.
No.
Yeah, it is.
The
You've already
grid is
agreed that this accurately represents the land masses on Earth. The shape
And a
that they are
pineapple-
on,
and a pineapple-
the shape,
and a
no,
pineapple
if
as
they were
well.
on a pineapple, the land masses would not be accurate. Representation to reality.
Again,
it wouldn't be the same.
grid.
Don't care about the grid.
One-
I just want land masses accurate.
Well, then you're gaslighting me, mate. Stop
No, I'm not.
misrepresenting what I'm saying.
No, I'm not, because you're. How can I misrepresent what you're saying when I'm asking you a question? Is there
And
a
I'm
flat
answering
map?
you.
No, you're not. Is there a flat map that has accurate sizes of all the countries exactly represented as they are to a scale? Yes or no?
The grids are accurate.
Yes or no?
The grids
Yes or
are
no,
accurate.
Flatzoid? It's a simple yes or no question. Please don't duck and dodge
The
this.
grids are accurate.
Yeah, I
You
don't
are
care about the grids.
misrepresenting
Is
my
there
argument.
No, I don't. Your argument's
You are.
irrelevant. This is my argument.
Listen, Craig.
My
Craig,
argument is it's simple, that there is no flat representation of the entire world that shows the countries with the accurate sizes compared to all other countries and the oceans between them. That it doesn't
Again.
exist. That every single flat representation of Earth has to have distortion. This is the only thing with zero distortion. Simple. All right? So now I'm happy to move on to gravity.
Again, if you stick a grid on a, let's say, a flat piece of paper, and then you start drawing your land masses in there, it doesn't mean the land masses are wrong. It means the grid is correct.
It does mean the land
And the
masses are wrong, because
drawing-
they won't be accurate to reality.
No land masses can be accurate to anything because it's the
This is-
grid that is the accuracy, not the drawn land masses. Craig.
The drawn land masses on here are accurate to reality.
I don't know how to explain it to you. It's
I don't
very
know.
simple
Your
stuff,
country
this.
here, South Africa, this is how it looks in reality, not how it looks on any flat map.
No, it doesn't look like that in reality.
No, it actually does. That's the shape of it in reality.
I live in South Africa, and I can guarantee you it doesn't look like that in reality, mate.
No, that is the accurate shape of South Africa. You're denying the shape
No,
of
it's
your
not.
own country. What does South Africa look like then?
It's much more pointy at the coast. How's that sound to you?
There's actually a point on the coast down there. I don't know if you can see
Much
it or not.
more
It's very small.
pointier.
No, that's
Much
so.
pointier.
So what you're saying is every globe has South Africa incorrect on it.
I say the drawings are not correct. The
Okay,
grid
now you
is
need
correct.
to need to prove that, because I have proved otherwise already by accurately calculating the distances between any 2 points on here live for
Okay.
you.
Okay, then
Oh
go
my
to
god,
the
guys,
30
he's
degrees.
just denied the
Go
shape of his
30
own country.
just go-
Brilliant.
Just go to 30. Just go to 30 degrees north and east.
I don't
for
have
me.
a grid system on it, so I
in the
couldn't do
middle
that.
of the city. Go. Yeah, exactly. So don't come talk shit.
Again, the
It's
grid system's
accurate, man.
irrelevant to the shape and the size of the countries being accurate to reality. But if
Again,
you want to now be
Craig.
embarrassed about gravity, that's absolutely fine. So
Run
gravity,
away.
right? You know, as a submariner in the Royal Navy, right? And how do you think submarines navigate?
I thought we're doing gravity now.
Yeah. This is gravity. Trust me.
But
how do you think
we'll
submarines?
get to that once you've answered my hypothesis. Remember, I asked you what observe gravity. How did you observe gravity?
Well, this can actually answer that for you. All right.
How did you observe gravity, Craig?
Yeah. I'll tell you. With this, it will get there with this story if you just work with me. All right. So, how do you think
How
submarines
did you
navigate?
observe-
Oh
No,
fuck! I
that's
just
a
spilled.
question
One sec.
to you.
One sec. I have just spilt juice all over my computer.
Oh shit.
Luckily, it landed mostly on my mouse mat. Sorry. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it sucks if it gets in the keyboard though. Then it gets
Yeah,
all
luckily
tacky.
my keyboard is on another platform. Fuck's sake. Sorry.
And I mean, I just want to ask you one question though,
Apologies.
based on your accuracy of your globe. Why did those 7,000 islands in Japan never pop up ever on your globes?
Yeah,
if it's so
so
accurate?
there was no new islands discovered. They just changed the classification of what islands are.
No,
Yeah, no, that's
7,000 islands would exist.
no, no. Again, there wasn't 7,000 new islands. They simply changed the classification of what islands are. So more things could be classified as islands. There wasn't. There was a few extra things they found with more accuracy, like activity with the rocks, but all they did was change the classification of what islands are, the same way they changed the classification of what planets are, which stopped Pluto being a planet. It didn't mean Pluto disappeared. It just means it's now known as a different thing than a planet.
Yeah, it just means changing the
Hashtag
story
justice
when
for
your
Pluto.
globe gets shown false. Yeah.
Well, no. It's again,
correct.
the land masses are still the same. All they did was change the classification of what the shapes were. The shapes never changed. The islands are still
Dude,
there. They were still mapped, but
dude,
instead,
it's the same.
whereas before they would have counted like an arpeggio of maybe 5 or 6 islands as one island because of the size of them. But they changed the classification so each of those little things could be classed as their own island. There was never extra land masses found or things changed. They just changed the way they classified things.
And then I want to ask you, why don't your satellites pick up those islands?
They do. The satellites were
Where?
always there. The islands were always there. Again, the country just changed how they classified their islands. That's all that happened there. No islands appeared out of nowhere. No islands like all of a sudden magically appeared that they went, oh, they weren't there before. They were always there. They just changed how they classified what they were.
Okay, cool.
The same
back to
way
gravity.
is in the 1800s in the UK, there was a big thing where they changed the classification of what it is between a hill and a mountain. And all of a sudden, there was hundreds of more mountains. It didn't mean that those mountains just appeared. They just changed the classification as to what a mountain was allowed to be as compared to a hill. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So, how did you observe gravity?
Right, brilliant. I can get this. This is what I wanted to talk about with the submarine. So, how do you think submarines navigate? Because this is how one of the ways I observed gravity.
Go. I asked you, how do you observe gravity? So I don't need
Right.
to answer for you. It's your burden.
Yeah, I know. It's just work with me. It's a thought experiment.
I'm
right?
working with you. I
Yeah.
asked you observation of gravity, so I'm waiting for you to tell
Okay,
me how
so-
you. I'm not supposed to give the answer to you.
So,
Not my hypothesis.
submarines can most of the time navigate with sonar, right? But the idea of submarines is that they're stealthy and things can't see where they are, and if you're using sonar, other things can see that. So submarines have a way of navigating whilst maintaining complete stealth ability, and they actually use gravity for that, right? And the way that I've personally observed gravity is by the gravimeter in the submarine reacting to the variations in mass underneath it to real time map the underwater floor, the floor of the sea, so that the submarine doesn't crash into stuff when it's navigating in complete stealth mode. They literally use the variation in gravitational strength because of the change of mass underneath it and the sensitivity of the gravimeter in the submarine to, in real time, map what is going on. And that is an observation that I saw in real time. So I saw that gravimeter reacting, right? So that's a
And
simple
how-
observation that
And would you be
have
able-
personally made.
Would you be able to explain to everyone what a gravimeter is and how it works?
Well, yeah, it's basically a mass on a spring that can react to minimal changes in gravitational force and measure the pressure being applied to that string being pulled down. If there's more mass underneath it, it's pulled down with a stronger force, so there's more put on the string. If there's less mass underneath, then there's less force putting it down, so there's less pull in the string. And we can use that and the 3D direction of it to map around the submarine in real time using gravity to tell us how far away the floor is, if there's an underwater mountain we're about to crash into,
And this spring, is it situated in a vacuum?
Yeah, this is actually in a box in a vacuum. It's in
Right.
a maintained unit.
And what happens when you change depths with this gravimeter?
When you change depths, if you were to move closer to the floor, the gravimeter shows a slightly stronger gravitational acceleration because you've changed the distance between the masses, which is what you expect.
You do know this contradicts totally what your gravity today is based on general relativity.
Not in the slightest, no. That's exactly what we expect.
Are you claiming gravity to be a force?
Gravity creates a force that's measurable.
See, that's what I said. You said you observed gravity, so I'm asking you.
Mm-hmm.
I want the observation.
I observed that happening.
Gravity.
I
so we
observed
can
that spring
make a
happening.
so we can make a hypothesis based on the observation. You're explaining gravimeters after begging the question that gravity is a force is not
I
observing
didn't say gravity is a
gravity.
force. I said gravity creates a gravitational acceleration, a gravitational force.
So how do you?
My observation? My observation is
how do you observe
let me
gravity?
answer the question. My observation is simple. I saw the mechanism reacting in real time to changes in mass underneath it. All right. That is the observation that I made, right? That's a simple observation, okay? So my hypothesis from that would be that a variation in mass is changing the acceleration, caused by gravity, creating a force to alter the pull on the spring. That's my hypothesis.
I mean, they use gravimeters for mining as well, so you can know for deposits of density.
Yeah, from satellites in space, yeah.
Okay. By the way, again, it's not gravity doing this, but this is what I'm saying now. Your observation is
it's still
your
gravity.
observation is gravity. So I'm asking you how
my observation was the gravimeter reacting. Yeah.
No, that's not gravity.
Yeah,
that is a spring being pulled down.
Yeah, that's my observation. My observation doesn't have to be gravity. You observe something, then you hypothesize what is causing that.
Exactly. So, okay, so let's say you saying the spring being pulled down is caused by gravity.
That's my hypothesis. Yes.
Okay. How did you manipulate this IV?
Well, the independent variable would be the distance between the spring and some mass.
No, the independent variable is gravity, not the distance.
It's not. No, the independent
variable.
Yeah,
you said the cause is gravity, not distance. So the cause is distance now, not gravity.
And the independent variable, which is distance, will change the dependent variable, which is the gravitational acceleration.
So cause distance, not cause gravity then?
Well, distance will cause a change in gravity.
So not gravity then, distance.
Yes, distance is the change that we are expecting.
So let's reword this then. Let's reword this then.
I don't know why you're...
Let's reword this then.
Independent variable is something you manipulate, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I manipulate the distance between masses. Then that will cause something to happen, which is the dependent variable, which is the gravitational acceleration applied to the spring.
So the
independent variable,
is distance.
Dependent variable.
So the cause is distance, not gravity. Or are you saying gravity is distance?
Gravity, which is the dependent variable, right, is altered.
No, you said distance.
Listen, dependent variable. Dependent variable, not independent variable. Do you not know the difference between independent variable and dependent variable?
Listen,
the dependent variable is the acceleration applied to the spring. The independent variable is the... let me finish what I'm saying first. The independent variable, the thing you manipulate to change the dependent variable, which is the gravitational force, is the distance between them.
Listen, you said your observation is the string being pulled down.
Yeah.
Okay? Your spring being pulled down. Your cause is the distance between. Okay, so it's not gravity, it's distance. The distance causes...
Distance is part of gravity. All right. Let me reword it for you. Let me reword the hypothesis for you.
I'm still talking. Your distance.
I can reword the hypothesis for you if you want and make it a lot simpler for you to understand. Okay. I hypothesize that the change in distance between mass is creating a force that is proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This is a force referred to as the force of gravity. The independent variable...
Gravity is not a force.
I said the force of gravity. which is something
Gravity's
created
not a
by...
force.
I didn't say it was a force. I said the force of gravity. The same thing as a force of an engine. An engine isn't a force. It creates a force. The force of gravity is a force created by grawity. Right, so stop
Okay,
strawmanning me. Right,
so gravity-
let
so
me finish.
gravity
Let me
causes
finish.
them.
Let
So
me finish
gravity
without you
causes-
interrupting. Let me finish without you interrupting. So, my hypothesis again is that there is a force being created that is proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That means the independent variable in this case can be the distance between the two things, the dependent variable being the applied force to the gravimeter. Simple.
Great. So not gravity then.
No, that
It's
is gravity.
distance.
That's just a description of gravity.
The cause is the cause is distance, not gravity.
Yeah, again,
You are claiming-
distance is part of gravity.
You are claiming that a thing that's not a force can create a force.
Absolutely,
While you are
yes.
stating in the same statement, it's the distance that causes it.
The distance, again, it creates a force that is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them.
Show
Is
me a
that hard to
distance
understand?
creating a force, please. Show me a distance creating a force, please.
A change in distance will create a force with gravity. I could show this with a Cavendish experiment quite easily.
Show me a distance creating a force.
A change in distance will create a change in force in the thing that I am talking about right now with submarines.
That's not gravity. You're claiming gravity.
Yeah.
A
Gravity,
distance doesn't
which
create
is
a
gravity, is a force that is created that is proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That's what gravity is, right?
No,
So
gravity is... That's false. That's not
no,
what gravity
that's
is.
that's what Newton's law says gravity is, right? And that's my hypothesis. Okay,
Newton
and that's
was
what you can use to
superseded.
calculate that.
Newton was superseded by general relativity, mate.
No, he's never been superseded. Newton's law still stands.
Again, Einstein superseded
No,
Newton.
he never superseded anything. Newton's law still stands. In fact,
He
you can take Einstein.
superseded it.
You can take the 10 tensor
Are
equations
you-
of Einstein's theory of gravity and reduce it down to Newton's law of gravitational attraction. They are
Can you-
essentially the same thing, just described in different ways. Newton's
Okay,
law
explain
still
to-
stands according to Einstein's relativity.
Explain to me how a metric tensor of bending the space and time can equivocate to a force of Newton.
Easy. When space and time are bent because there's a mass there, it creates an acceleration towards that mass, which can be measured in Newtonian physics as a force.
You just shown you don't understand general relativity, mate.
No, I
That's not
understand
what a
general
metric
relativity
tensor does.
very well, as
That's
the
not
expert I had on my
that's
channel
not what a
said
metric
so.
tensor does. Congratulations.
You asked me what the what Einstein's theory of relativity equates to Newton's law was, right? And do you know how many tensor equations there are
A lot.
for Einstein's theory of gravity? How many are there?
I don't need to know, but it's a lot.
You do, because there's 10, and when you take them, they actually go down to Newton's law of universal gravity. They say the same thing. They imply the same thing. Einstein's just a lot more accurate, but that's a semantics argument we're not going to get into right now.
No.
My hypothesis
come on.
is that gravity, that's what gravity can be described as, right? And my hypothesis is, as I stated it, right? So now we can move on to a prediction. It's simple.
Can you please go and take a metric tensor and show me how you get a force equivocated to it?
No, because that's a complete straw man.
No, you just said it with your own words.
I said you can take Einstein's 10 tensor equations and break them down to Newton's law of universal gravitational attraction. They say the same thing.
They don't.
Mathematically.
They say exactly the opposite, mate.
No, they don't.
That's
You
the
can
whole point.
literally break down Einstein's tensor equations to Newton's law. You can do that mathematically.
Let's explain it this way. Newton's gravity, it's three-dimensional, correct?
Newton's law of gravity is, as I've described, a force proportional to two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them.
That's
That
what
can be
I asked.
applied
Is
to any dimension.
Is Newton's gravity three-dimensional?
It can
or
be applied in
four-dimensional?
3 dimensions, of course it can.
It's only three-dimensional.
It can be applied
Einstein
in 3
and
dimensions, yes.
general
General relativity includes time, yes, but that doesn't change what gravity is. Gravity alters time.
According to general relativity, The Earth is moving up, not the apple falling. It's just the effect based on your reference
Yes,
frame
it's just a
in the
different
fourth
way of
mathematical.
describing it. Yes, but that's irrelevant to
No,
the discussion.
listen. You said changing the distance of the spring
Yeah,
to the mass
yeah.
caused a force.
Cause a
Okay,
change in the force.
so not gravity then.
Yes,
According
that's
to
what gravity is. Yeah.
according to no,
That's what both
acco-
Einstein and Newton expect to happen.
Einstein is giving the
Einstein would
appearance
expect if the two masses were moved closer to each other that there would be a larger force applied. Einstein would expect that to happen.
again. According to Einstein, it's only an effect that it's taking a curved path, but in fact, it is taking a straight path
Through curved spacetime,
not
which
in
it's taking a straight path
actual,
through curved spacetime. That's what
not
Einstein
in
says.
actual reality.
Well,
That's
apart from
what
the fact that
it is
does.
about. It's
Well,
all
I mean, you're just
an
making up
it's
stuff
all
now.
just it's all just an effect based in a mathematical deposition of
That's
fourth
just
space
no. The
time.
math
That's
is
it.
just explanation for what's going on. That's
So,
all.
so
It's not
again,
my
you
fault
made a
don't
claim
explain.
that
But
you can
anyway,
take. So
yeah.
you made
back
a claim
to
that
my
you can take.
hypothesis.
You made a claim that you could take the metric tensors
No, I
and
didn't.
show us how Newton's force can be equivocated from that. So please do
I said
so.
that you can take the 10 tensors for Einstein's theory of gravity and reduce them down to Newton's law of gravity. They are
That's what I
mathematically
just
the same
said. So you
thing.
can show us this.
No, I can't personally do it. It's maths that's way above my head. But
You know
I
why you
know
can't
several
do that?
people that
You know why you can't do that?
I know
You
several
why you
people that
can't
can do it.
Okay, get them on. Let them show us.
I mean, PhD Tony can do it. I'm pretty sure
Get him
Clive
on.
Wells could do it. Phil
Get
Bell
him on.
could probably do it. I could present
Get
you with
him
a
on,
bunch
show
of
us how.
papers for it showing how it's done. Just because
Get them
it's
on, show
maths
us how.
they're not in the chat right now, but
Yeah,
there's
you
lots
know
of
why
papers.
it can't be
Again,
done.
there's
It
lots
can't
of
be
papers
done.
that, well, apart from the fact there's lots of papers that show how it is done. You know, it's
not
something
done.
that is done. You know, you can just
It's
deny
not
it,
done.
but it's there. It is. You can literally take Einstein's 10 tensor equations and reduce them down to Newton's law. That's a thing that exists. You can deny it all you want.
You do know his tensor equations is just mapping out space and time.
Yeah, and you can
That's
reduce
all
them
it
down
is.
to Newton's law
It's
of
not-
universal
listen.
gravitational attraction.
No.
Yeah, you can. You can nut out all you want, but you actually can.
Show me.
I'd send you the papers.
No, show me. This is
I
the
don't have
second
it
time
right
tonight
now.
you just say you're going to send me papers without being
Yeah,
able to show me
it's
anything.
like showing, you want me to prove to you that 1 + 1 = 2. This is a thing. Anyone can go and look it up right now and see that you can take Einstein's 10 tensor equations and reduce them down to Newton's law of gravity. This is just a thing that exists. I'm not saying that I can do it myself because that's maths that's above my head.
Okay.
I've only got a
Okay, let's do it
bachelor's.
this way.
You would probably do that in your
Would you-
PhD.
Would you be able to find one citation that shows this then?
Yeah, I could find lots.
Could you bring up one for us?
Right now? You want me to just do some random Googling right now for you? Or
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Reducing Einstein's tensor equations to Newton's law. Okay, so you can reduce the Einstein's field equations, Newton's law of gravity, by using both the weak field approximation and the slow motion approximation. From zoidmedia.com, the Einstein field equation, the derivation of Newton's law. I'll put this up on screen so people can actually see it. There's, like I said, I'm not saying I can do that maths because I can, right? But oh no, I put up the wrong thing up. Here it is for everybody
Can
to
you
see.
maybe make it bigger so we can see?
I am. Oh, no, go away. I'll get copyrighted for that. Right, so lecture 14, the Einstein field equation and derivation of Newton's law. So this takes you through the
Can't
maths.
see. Sorry, mate, I can't see anything. It's very blurry.
It's not blurry on my side.
Yeah, it's like crazy blurry. Can't see anything.
It must be the your internet signal then, because I'm sending it to
No,
1080p.
I'm perfect on my side. It's showing from your side that it's like that.
I honestly don't understand why, because it looks perfect on my screen and on my stream.
Okay, I'm not sure why it's doing that.
But
go on.
this is the maths that takes you down, that shows you the Einstein field equations and the derivation of Newton's law. And it takes you all through the
There we go.
entire
There,
thing.
go.
So
to the-
using
yeah, you see,
going through actually
you know,
space-time metrics, and it takes you through the entire thing of all of Einstein's tensor equations and how they break down to Newton's law of gravity. That's what
Craig,
this is.
Craig, even the guys on my side are saying on your stream they can't see it properly.
No, on my stream it's perfect. I'm looking at it right now.
No, it definitely looks the same, mate.
I'm literally looking at my stream right now.
Your whole stream is looking blurry.
Guys, is my stream looking
Everybody-
blurry? Please tell me in the chat, because it looks fine to me. I'm putting out a 1080p signal. Looks fine. No, my chat is saying it all looks fine. I don't understand.
Let's quickly go. That's weird.
Ooh, now I'm showing the wrong thing. But yeah, so this paper breaks down, like I said, maths that's over my head, but it breaks down Einstein's field equations and the derivation to Newton's law. So it's a thing that exists.
But you know what a metric tense is, though, mate?
It's one of Einstein's tensor equations. For which one? There's 10 for this in particular. And a metric tensor equation is something that is generally a transformation of 3D to 4D space.
Einstein field equations show how the sources of gravitational fields alter the metric. Do you know what a metric is?
In what context? Yeah, of course I know what a metric is. It's like an amount of something compared to something else.
So it's just mathematical, correct?
Well, this is the maths of it. Just like, this is the whole, it's just a theory thing. No, the theory, it just explains it. And this is just the maths explaining what goes on, which has been, this has all been verified via experimentation time and time again.
Experimentation? What experimentation?
Well, all of Einstein's field equations are constantly going through verifications and experimentation. I could literally send you thousands of papers of that. I don't have them with me right now, but I could constantly send you paper after paper showing how Einstein's theories are being constantly validated, at least up until a point. But you said that you cannot break Einstein's field equations down to Newton's law, but that's literally what they do. So,
do you know the difference between general relativity and Einsteinian gravity? Newtonian gravity, I mean.
Do I know the difference between general relativity and Newtonian? Yes, they explain things very differently.
The one is just an effect, mathematical, based in fourth dimension, and Newtonian is supposedly a real force in actual three-dimensional reality.
Yeah, but the result of everything that goes on... I mean, you weren't completely correct there. The result of everything that goes on within general relativity is that we can measure a force. And like I've just shown, right?
That's the problem.
Like I've just shown. Right, hold on. Like I've just shown, general relativity, the gravity, all behind it breaks down to Newton's laws. All right. General relativity is so much more accurate, like so much more accurate. But when you break it down, they say the same thing. They both say that there will be a measurable force applied at the end. That's it.
No, mate. No.
Yes.
According to general relativity, there is no force. It's an effect.
Because it's not a real force. It's a pseudo force.
It's an effect. It's an effect.
But
at
the end of it, you can still measure a force. In Newtonian world, we can measure a force because of what is going on.
Greg,
it's just the way that we perceive it.
Greg, let's put it this way. If you're in a car and you are speeding up, it's got to do with reference frames to another person in another car. You understand? Now, if you got a clock and the other person's got a clock and the one's driving faster than the other, does it literally change the time? Or do you just have a perceived time change?
Are you talking about time dilation now?
Is it physical or only effectual? So it's optical. It's not actual.
No, that's not how it works. So, okay, so if you are traveling at X distance, you can assume you're stationary because you are the base, right? And there's another car that's going 30 miles an hour faster than you, right? For you, if you in the car that's your base, the car that you're in, if you were to measure the time in that car moving away from you, you would measure the time in that car as going slower than the time in your car.
So not actual then.
Yeah, I just said you would actually measure the time in the car going faster than you at a different rate than the time in your car. The time would physically be. Let me answer the question.
Change.
Time would physically be passing at different speeds for the two people.
Thank you for making my point.
Your point is that you don't understand relativity?
The point is you think...
Relativity is that people can experience things at different times, right?
The point is you think the effect is physical. That's the point.
It is, right? And it's to do with the fact that two people can experience the same thing in different ways, right? So let's imagine that you're sitting on a bench, right? And there's a train going past in front of you, right? That train's traveling faster than anything you've ever seen, right? It's going along. And in the distance behind that train, there's two strikes of lightning that hit the ground at the same time, right? Have you got that in your head? So you're sitting there, you're watching this train, and as the train's going past, behind that train, there's two strikes of lightning that hit the ground at the same time, okay? Now, I want you to picture yourself on that train this time, okay? Look at those two lightning strikes. What do you see? Are they hitting the ground at the same time?
No, because it looks at a different time based on your reference frame.
Right. So from the person on the train, then what would they see? Let's say they're close. They're in the middle of the two lightning strikes as it starts. What do they? Yeah. Work with me. Let me finish. Right. What does the person on the train see? Right. What the person on the train sees is that the one that they are moving towards strikes first. The one that they're moving away from strikes after. But the person on the bench sees them both strike at the same time. So who's right and who's wrong?
The one sitting at the bench, because they struck at exactly the same time. It doesn't.
So the person that's on the train, are they wrong? Did they not see them strike at different times?
Again, an effect, not actual.
No. This is actual. This is real life, right? This is actually what would happen. The person on the train, right? Their experience, what they physically experienced in reality, is that those two lightning strikes hit the ground at different times, right? That is reality to them, right? They could time when it happened, but the person on the bench, for them, it happened at the same time. So neither of them are wrong. Neither of the people are wrong. They're both right.
Again, Craig, the person in the same reference frame as when they hit them both at the same time is correct, because he's moving at a net zero as the same as the
So you're saying the person on the train is wrong? He didn't see that.
The guy moving in a different reference frame would see an effect due to his movement, his acceleration.
So are you saying that the guy on the train didn't see that then? Are you saying the guy on the train did not see the lightning strike at two different times?
The guy that sat in front of it saw it strike exactly the same time, because that's how
I'm on about the guy on the train. What did he see? He saw them strike at different times. That's his reality. Yeah. He's not wrong. That for him, that actually happened.
Listen, Craig. Just stay quiet for 2 minutes. The guy on the train was moving with acceleration. So he's not. He's in a constant velocity. He's not accelerating. Listen, time dilation.
He's not accelerating. He's going this constant velocity.
Okay, whatever. He's moving away from the reference where he's looked at. Okay, so it's time dilation, an effect, not physically changing the times now of the lightning strike hitting.
Okay, so did he not physically experience that then? So did the guy on the train, did he not physically experience those lightning strikes at a different time? Was that not what he witnessed? The light coming to his eye, did he not see one, then the other?
Have you ever heard of the Doppler effect before?
This kind of is the Doppler effect, right? But let's stick
with
this
physical?
one. Let's stick
is it
with
physical,
one.
Craig?
Let's stick depending on the reference frame you're in. But let's stick with this example, right? And it's a simple question: did the person on the train experience the lightning strikes happening at different times? Yes or no?
Yes, and if an effect.
No. It doesn't matter an effect, right? For him, that's reality.
Stop over talking me.
You keep saying it's an effect, but
can I finish making my statement?
We just want to talk about what he's seen, what is his reality.
Can I finish making my statement? the lightning strike does not physically change its delay because someone observed it with an effect of moving away.
So did he not see
Do
what he
you
saw?
understand?
So did he not see that then?
Let's put it this way to you. According to Newton, that lightning strike would hit both at the same time, even if the guy was moving away. Why? Because he's taking physical 3 dimensions. Now when you're
Yeah,
taking
because
with
Newton
general
didn't take
relativity,
time into account, correct? That's why it's
now when you
inaccurate.
take general relativity, the guy is moving away, so he's saying, look, I observe this effect due to my movement, my reference frame. So therefore the lightning strike only appears, a keyword here, appears to be hitting at a different time. It doesn't physically hit at a different time.
For him it does.
So
For the guy on the train, he could physically time when the lightning strikes hit, and they would physically hit at different times, right? That for the guy on the train, he is the one that's stationary, right? And the land and everything is moving past, okay? Because it's all relative, right? But that's the point that Einstein came up with, and that was the difference between him and Newton. Newton, he never really had a hypothesis or anything. He just did some maths based on what he observed. His maths implied that there was no speed to gravity. There was no speed to like all happened instantly, which is why it's not accurate on anything more than like a local level. But Einstein, he realized something amazing. He realized that time is relative. That time isn't the same for everybody. Time for that person on the train was passing at a different rate for the person watching it. For them, they experience a different reality, and for them, that is reality, right? And that's why in the explanation of the cars, right? If you were to measure the time in the car moving away from the one that you are in, you would physically measure the time in that car passing at a different rate to the one that you are in.
Okay, let's put it to this way again. I'm going to try very hard to explain. That train is physically moving. That train is physically moving away from the observation point.
No, the observation point is moving away from the train.
So the train is not moving.
No, the ground's moving relative to the train. I mean, according to Einstein, either one is equally appropriate, right?
Sorry, I'm not talking about general relativity. I'm talking about reality. The train is moving. It's got an engine.
The train is moving relative to the ground. Yes.
Okay, it's moving.
Relative
now
to
the lightning strikes are hitting the ground back. Both lightning strikes at exactly the same time, exactly the same point to the person sitting watching it in front of him. Correct? So they hit literally at the same time. Correct?
Not for the person on the train. No.
I'm talking about the guy sitting there.
The guy sitting there, he's going to see them at the same time because that's his experience.
Cool. Listen. So that means it's physically hit at the same time. Now you've got
a guy
moving away. Physically moving away from the observation. Okay? The train is physically moving. And because he observes it with a delay, it means it's an effect. It's not physically changing the light.
But for him, that's a physical reality, right? And for him, that's a physical reality.
Then he's a moron. Then he's a moron.
It just shows that you don't understand what relativity actually is. I'll tell you what, actually. I'm going to play the clip that my explanation comes from. All right, so just give me 1 minute and watch this, okay? I need to use the toilet. That's why I'm doing this.
Solve the problem.
What are you talking about?
Close your eyes. Pretend you're overlooking a train track.
But this is National Geographic. Well, they're not going to strike us for this.
Faster than any train you've ever seen.
Oh wow!
Now I want you to imagine
I might have to clip
the
this,
train
guys.
is flying past, 2 lightning bolts crashing beyond the tracks at the same time, 100 meters apart.
I already know this one.
So what?
Patience. Now imagine that you're standing in the middle of the train during the exact same scenario. Would the lightning bolts be simultaneous?
Of course.
Not if light moves at 1 speed. Close your eyes.
But this is ridiculous.
Put yourself back on the moving train and really think about it. Do it, Michele. Now watch the lightning bolts. simultaneous to you? No! Because you were moving
He's showing
towards
it on
one
the stream.
and away from the other. To me, standing still, they were simultaneous. How could the two of us experience the same event differently?
We couldn't. Unless...
It's not Maxwell who gets it between the eyes. It's Newton.
What are you saying?
Time is not absolute.
Right, there we go. That's where the example I
just
just
made my
came
point.
from.
You just made my point there.
But
I knew about.
But
I
it makes
really
my
knew
point.
about
Well,
that
like
thing.
he said, you know, the guy on the train experiences one thing. The guy on the ground experiences another thing. They're both right because everything is relative and time is relative for them.
Okay, look.
You know,
look
and the speed of
right?
light is always going to be the speed of light, no matter how fast you are going. Right?
Craig, general relativity is based on a mathematical concept in
Which has been
fourth
verified
dimension.
since then.
Listen, it's a mathematical, okay? What happens in reality? The lightning strike physically hits at the same time.
For the guy
The
on the
guy
ground, not
mo-
the guy on the train.
It's the same reference frame, correct? Means no movement of the guy and the lightning strikes hitting. So they hit
Yeah.
physically at the same time.
Yeah, for the guy watching,
Correct.
but not for the guy on the train. For him,
Okay,
it physically hits
okay.
at different times.
Now
he
the
can
guy
watch it
on the
physically
train,
happen. He can time it
listen, now
physically
the guy,
happening.
Now the guy on the train physically moves a distance from that observation point.
Yep.
Do you know how Doppler effect works, mate?
Yeah, I
Is it
do.
physical or an effect?
You will, for the person watching it, you will physically see a different light or hear a different sound. It doesn't
Again.
it doesn't stop you seeing. You know, let's talk about the sound of the Doppler effect. Okay, yeah, it's an effect because the ambulance is moving towards you and then away from you. So as it's moving towards you, the sound wave is getting compressed, and as it's moving away from you, the sound wave is getting expanded. Right?
Because of
That's the
distance,
effect
correct?
that's going on. But
'Cause of
that
distance.
doesn't stop you physically hearing a change in the pitch because
But that's
it's
what
an
I'm trying to
effect that's
tell you.
happening. Right?
Now-
But
oh,
you-
now-
for,
now,
right,
that-
let me finish my point. For you, with the Doppler effect, you are physically experiencing a change, be it light or sound. With light, you will physically see it shift from red to blue. With sound, you will physically see it shift from a higher pitch hear it shift from a higher pitch to a lower pitch, right? But for the person that is on that ambulance, that pitch is never changing. But that doesn't mean that your brain hasn't registered a different pitch and put that signal through. Your ears have actually heard that, and they've had to convert that different pitch to a signal to go to your brain, because your ear is physically receiving a different sound to the person on the ambulance.
Listen, the frequency never changes. It's the same frequency always. It's the effect due to the person moving away.
Okay, if it's the
from
same
the
frequency
observation.
always,
Now,
then why?
now, I want to tell you why I'm happy you brought this up.
What, can
Because
I
with the
just
train
respond to
guy
that
moving
bit, one
away,
bit first?
I'm still with my statement. The guy moving away, showing general relativity, is only an effect, not a force. Even your video said where Newton would say it would be physical force, Einstein said it would be an effect. Your own video debunked you, mate.
which results in a force that you can measure. The effect causes the force.
There's no force in general relativity at all.
Yeah, I know, but that's because it's just described a different way. But that doesn't
No.
stop you being
It
able to
says
physically
it's
measure a
not a
force,
force.
due to the fact that you can take Einstein's tensor equations and mathematically derive them down to Newton's law of gravity, which says that there's a force created. They
There's
they
no
both
force
imply the
according-
same thing. Right, Flatzoid.
According to
There's
general
no-
relativity,
no,
there is
it doesn't
no
matter.
force.
Yeah, again,
There's
but
no
the
force
end result of
ever.
it is that you can measure a force in a Newtonian world. It's just an explanation for what is going on. And the end result of both Einstein and Newton explaining gravity is that mass attracts mass. That happens in
No.
both of them.
No.
Yeah. Every single one of Einstein's tensor equations results in A mass attracting a mass. That is what will happen in physical reality because of what Einstein is explaining is happening. You can say no all you like, but there's PhDs in my chat right now which are disagreeing with you, and you don't have a PhD and they do.
Okay, let's put it this way. According to Newton, the apple is physically falling. Physically, okay? Because it's being pulled with an actual force to the ground. General relativity says, no, the apple is at a zero net force, so no force. You are moving up towards the apple.
Yeah, it's a different way of explaining it. Yeah.
So look. So it gives you an appearance of there being a force of it being pulled down to the ground. It's an effect. It's not physical. There's no force there. That is the simplest form. That's why general relativity cannot
except that it actually says that there's a force in the
force.
end, of course. Like I showed you the maths where you can break it down, you can deny it, but you can literally derive Newton's law from Einstein's tensor equation. So, right there. Now, Professor Phil Bell actually wanted to talk to you. Are we happy to open it up to other people at this point?
Oh yeah, more than happy. Let me just quickly get my link open in my mouse at work.
What I'll do, Flatzoid, is I will make you co-host of this thing, so it's fair, so that we've both got the same powers. All right? I think that's only fair in a situation like this. Just promise me you won't put any porn on. We're good, all right?
I don't think we are those type of people, though.
No, right. So I have made you the co-host of this meeting, and I think that's fair. If we're doing this regularly, we should both be, a host of the meeting. So you can take the link and just give it out to people.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna quickly get it. My mouse is giving in. Oh man.
I'm lucky. I poured juice all over my mouse, but it seems to be working fine.
Okay. So I can just copy that same link.
Yeah.
Copy link.
I think it's all right.
Okay, guys. If I click on it, it should be going to. No, it's sending me to Discord. I don't need to go to Discord. Remove. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to quickly get the link.
That's okay. Wow, guys, I just want to say the amount of super chat support is absolutely amazing. If you specifically have questions for Flatzoid, try and tag me in it if you can. Even if it's not a super chat, I'll still try and get it to him. Yes, Colin, I love using Logitech stuff.
Okay. Okay, guys, I've put the link in there for you guys if you guys are wanting to come and talk. The link is there. And yeah, please do send the super chats if you just want to ask anything for Craig that you're not wanting to come in. Did I close my notepad? No.
Oh. Okay, I just got an email.
Tony Whitcomb did send a super chat a while ago, and I seem to have closed my notepad.
Do you not have it pop up on your on your studio?
No. I just put on the notepad.
So I find this a lot easier. I'll show you. Like, I just have mine on here, so I can just read them off as they come.
Oh, activity! I can do that.
Yeah.
I see my camera has gone off now as well, guys. I see my camera has also gone off on my stream. Probably my phone went dead. Get to my stream. So anyway, yeah. Full Bell, I'm more than happy to talk to him.
Yeah, I'm just getting him the link now. Give me 1 sec.
Shot. So yeah, guys, if you want to come in and chat, please hit that link. Or if you want to send a super chat, if you just want to ask without coming in, you can do so.
Right, there we go. All right. So I've posted the link in the chat and I've sent it to Phil Bell. If you guys want to come in and have a chat with Flatzoid, ask him any questions. Call him names, point out he's got a big forehead or something. I don't know. Hey, I can't argue. Look at the size of my forehead. Or 5 head, as my wife calls it.
But yeah. I think it's going well, though.
Yeah. Shit, yeah, just showed up on my my Amazon order for my pipe gauzes.
I just
AJ
admitted
Ferrero
someone.
entered the room. I think that's one of yours.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to talk to one of you guys until Professor Phil Bell comes in. I'm pretty sure Phil Bell wanted to talk to you about the second law of thermodynamics and things about like that.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Hey, hey Draco, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming in. Television says £2 super chat. No grid, no scale, no map.
You don't need a grid for a scale. Hey, Draco.
Can you hear us, Draco?
Let's see if he's still connecting to his mic's on.
No stress, Rachie. It's always good to have you in there.
Hello?
Hello,
Hello,
Draco,
Draco.
my
How's it
friend.
going?
There we
How
go.
the devil are we?
I am tired and busy studying for finals, but I decided to pop on this stream because I'm a masochist.
Yes, why not? Thank you for your constant support, Draco, as you're here. I'd love to let you know that. But do you have a question for our friend Flatzoid here?
Yes, I do. I'd like to know, Flatzoid, what is so hard to understand about the difference between a flat grid and a grid on a curved surface?
What do you mean a difference? It's a grid. It's only got a X and Y. Correct? If you got X and Y and you place on any, it's still got an X and Y.
Yes, but when you take a flat grid in non-Euclidean space and then you put it onto a Euclidean curved surface, like the surface of a sphere, the grid is not going to work the same way that you think it does.
Again, the distances between each grid block are exactly the same measurements.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they are not. If I take a flat piece of paper and I put it around a ball, the distance around the curve might appear to be the same, but in reality, on the surface of that ball, the distances are not, they're not equal.
Again,
You are distorting it by putting it onto a curved surface.
Again, that ball is just a reification fallacy of saying it is that true shape, where you can take that exact same grid and stick it on a pineapple and you can measure the same distances because it's the grid you're measuring, not the shape.
Except the grid gets distorted, so it's not the same distance.
If point A to point B on that grid is the same no matter what scale, it's going to stay the same. Not the distortion.
It's still going to be distorted. There's always going to be distortion when you go from a flat surface to a curved surface, and vice versa.
I think I'll have to actually make a video drawing this for you because it's actually very simple to understand.
You're right, it is, which is why I understand it, and you apparently don't.
Later battle, mate.
Oh. Draco, you always make me laugh.
Brian, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
All right. Yes.
Hey, Brian.
First time on a phone.
Mic quality would check out, yes.
Flatzoid, I was just curious if you were one of the people I've heard say that math is unable to describe reality, or
Math can lie. Math can lie about reality, yeah.
Can lie about what?
Math can lie about reality.
Well, only if you're purposely forcing it to. I use math every day, and every time I use the formulas for my job, they describe reality perfectly. If you use things and plug them in properly.
Okay, and if I had to make an equation that says unicorn pixies exist, and the math works out, does that mean unicorn pixies exist?
It means they're mathematically predicted to exist.
First, you would have to find the proper numbers to input into your variables. You can't just create for instance, I'm an electrician. E equals IR, voltage equals current times resistance.
Yeah, but you work on physical.
Hold on. I can create any formula I want, but I need the proper numbers to input. If I just create something and say, all right, my formula proves pixies, but if I don't actually have measurable input for that formula, it's irrelevant.
Again,
So you can say you have a. You can say you have. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My fault.
I'm saying your line of job is based on having those physical measurements needed. So you already know the parameters. Now, if you have to, let's say, take astrophotography, for instance, astronomy, and you can say on some dark place in the world, which we can't see in the universe, but we can make an equation that something's there, you can just make it work. That doesn't make it mean it's actually there. That's just you equivocating based on a language, which is math.
Well, however, the placeholders that we use for dark matter have value. See, your pixie fart is a false equivalent. You're just saying, oh, I create something and it means they work. But no, you can't actually come up with numbers to input to your make-believe formula.
Are you saying that math cannot lie? Are you saying it's a language and it cannot lie? Is that what you're telling me?
Saying anything, math is a language, but what do you mean by lie? What do you think lie means when we talk about math?
Language can lie.
Well,
okay, so because math is considered a language, it can lie? That's another false equivalent.
Yes.
That's
No,
another
it's
fallacy.
not. It's
That's
not.
another
It's exactly
fallacy. Just
because it only
because I can
describes-
lie in French doesn't
Brian.
mean I can lie in math.
Brian, can I ask a question?
Of course.
To Flatzoid. Flatzoid, if you think that math being a language means it can lie, if I call a cell phone in English and a Japanese person calls it smaho, are they lying?
No, because it's describing the same thing.
Exactly. So
It's a false equivalence.
math describes reality.
Okay,
So it being a language is completely irrelevant to whether or not that reality is true.
Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this
you
way.
can make maths lie, can't you?
Anytime my turn
described-
is over, by the way.
Math described Newton's gravity as a force, correct?
No.
Well,
Math didn't
technically,
describe Newton's-
Newton's gravity was described as a force.
Thank you. So,
that's
but
how-
is
that's
it
how
now?
Yeah,
Newton
but the math didn't call it a force. The math
Yes, it
just
does.
explained how it worked.
What is F equals ma?
It's an equation.
Is it true?
Yeah, it works.
Great. Okay. And what is Newton's gravity based on?
Not F equals ma.
Observation.
Yes, it requires a force for a mass to accelerate. That's exactly what Newton's gravity is based on. Now, when
Newton's
you go to
gravity
general
is. I've actually forgotten the equation, but it's not F. It's not F
I'm
equals
just
ma.
going to drop
Constant-
out. Thank you.
Okay, Brian.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you,
Brian.
Brian.
But like I was
It's
saying,
G
Draco,
equals m1 m2 over r squared, I believe.
yes, and the distances between them give you the force required for the acceleration.
Well, it's inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, proportional
So
to the
then
product
again,
of normal mass.
The
It
math-
gives you the
math-
gravitational force
Thank you. So the math says it's a force, and now according to Einstein, it's
because
not a
it
force. So
behaves
which one
like
lied?
a force.
Which one lies?
Neither
Which
of
one
them
is the
did.
lie?
Neither of them did.
You just talked yourself into a hole, mood.
No,
the
I
one
didn't.
says the one says it's not a force. It's
No,
just
one of
an
them
effect.
doesn't say it's a force. One of them describes how it works, and then Einstein came along and gave the theory that said this is what it is. They're not the same thing.
Right.
The mathematical,
Newton's-
the mathematical equation G equals m1 m2 over r squared does not say as a fact in its description, hey, I'm describing a force. That's not how math works.
So it's not the force of gravity then.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No, I said the equation doesn't call it a force.
Yes, it does. The
The
whole
equation
of
is
Newton's
just for the
theory of
force.
the whole of Newton's
Right,
theory of gravity is based upon the force that
Okay,
gives the acceleration.
Newton didn't have a theory.
Newton didn't have a theory.
Yeah, this is kind of semantic play, which is a bit boring for everyone.
Yeah, because you guys are losing. You guys can't accept
Really
that your
not.
math is a
now-
lying.
We do
math
have
can
here
lie.
a professor who has crashed something into the moon, and he would very much like to talk to you, Flatzoid, about the second law of thermodynamics. Professor Philip Bell, hello, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good,
Can you
sir.
hear me?
Thank you very much for joining.
Good, and
Yes, you
yourself?
are loud and clear.
Hang on a second and I'll just put my my camera on, okay?
Okie
Good to
dokie.
see you, Phil.
Yeah, good to see you. How are
Oh,
you? So, do I
cosplaying
call
as
you
Holly from
Flatzoid
Red
or
Dwarf
do I call you
here.
Pete?
Doesn't matter, mate.
Okay,
Yeah, so Professor
this
Philip Bell,
might be
you
a bit
wanted
of
to
a
talk to Flatzoid,
delay.
so please, over to you.
So, yeah, look, I just wanted to have a bit of a discussion with you about your idea about what you think the second law of thermodynamics is, or thermodynamics in general. Can we start with what you think it is?
I think I'm being quite plain and simple. It's about the the energy movement between systems.
Oh, energy. That's good. Yeah, yeah. So, so when you say energy movement between systems, be more specific. The second of them, dynamics, isn't just the energy movement.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I mean temperatures. You get the matter that moves caused by the energy.
No,
It's
but
just got to do with it's just got to do with the relationships between the systems. That's about it.
So basically, we're talking about entropy, right?
Yeah.
Of energy.
Energy and matter. Yeah.
Yeah. No, energy.
Energy and matter. Yeah.
No.
Everything is gas
Okay.
matter. Is gas a matter?
So,
Is
so
gas a
matter is affected by energy. Yes, by heat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So making my point.
All right. Okay. So let me share my screen so we can have a bit of a
I
lesson
have
on
to
this.
turn that on 1 sec. Okay, you should be able to screen share now.
Okay. And I'll just plug this in so I can draw. Okay, so let me just get my pencil out. I presume you can see my whiteboard.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think that means? It's a bit, sorry about the writing, it's pretty hard to do that.
Over the
mouse.
temperature, yeah?
Yeah. So what do we got? What do you think Q is for?
The energy over the system over the temperature.
Q is heat energy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Heat energy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very hard to write with the mouse.
It's difficult, yeah.
Should this not be delta S?
Okay. So yes, that should be delta S, yes, correct. And also we'll have the delta change in delta. Okay. So we're talking about heat energy, all right? So now your entire premise about why that space, because you call space fake. Do you do that?
What it's been represented as, yes, fake.
What do you mean it's represented as fake?
If you have a separate system, the gas you breathe will fill the available space.
Well, why should it do that?
Because entropy increases. Gas always moves to fill the available space. That's how gas moves.
Can you describe what means separate system?
If
Hang
Earth
on,
is
let me have this discussion, okay? And
Yeah,
then you can come in.
let Phil Bell finish this for now, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I'll just unhook this just for now. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. So your contention is that that space can't exist because the gas on the Earth would move into this space. Is that right?
correct,
But we have a gradient already, don't we?
which comes after.
So in other words, so no. Let's just go through the questions one at a time. So from the ground,
But you're
between
already
the
jumping.
ground,
But you're jumping from point 1 to point B. You can't have delta without already having the pressure.
between the ground and let's say 100 kilometers, there's a pressure gradient.
Pressure gradient, yeah, in the same system.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, there's a pressure gradient indefinitely.
In the same systems, yeah. But according to your
Exponentially.
globe, according to your globe, though, it's two different separate systems.
What do you mean it's two separate?
It's an open system, the Earth, inside the universe, a separate system.
No, I'm just talking about let's talk about the space between the ground and let's say 100 kilometers.
Same system. So you have a pressure gradient.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
So, Keith, when you as it gets higher and higher, the pressure at the ground is around let's in imperial units, let's say 14.7 pounds per square
PSI,
inch,
yeah?
about 101.3 kilopascals.
Mhm.
Okay, and the pressure in imperial at about 100 kilometers is like 0.0004046 pounds
Yeah, I
per square
understand.
inch.
It's just the
Incredibly small
gradient's
amount.
getting less, yeah.
Yeah. So why doesn't the gas at the ground rush off to the where it's a very, very low pressure?
Because of gas behavior in the system.
Which
On the
gas behavior?
surface, most of the conglomerate of gases is at the bottom. Where
Sure,
the
but why doesn't
larger
it rush up
surface-
there?
You want me to answer, but you want to talk over me.
Okay,
Because
go
the larger surface area to hit, you got more collisions because you got more to hit off of. It's as simple as that. It's simple. It's literally, you got more to hit off of with more amount of gas to hit off of, and the temperature inversions. That's about it. The higher you go
Sorry.
up, the wider the area.
That is a
The
tasty
less you-
word salad.
The
So
higher
let
you
me
go,
let me do this.
the higher you go
Sorry.
up, the higher you go up, the less you have to hit off of, so you have less collisions, and you already have the less amount of gas for those collisions to happen. So, aka less pressure.
No, but tell me, why doesn't the gas just rush up there? You didn't
Because
explain
it's the
why the
same
gas.
system. I just did. It's called gas behavior.
No, but you just said the word gas behavior, but you didn't tell me why. Let's talk about gas behavior.
Avogadro's law, Dalton's law, Boyle's law. Which one you want? Charles
Okay,
Dirichlet's law.
Dalton's law is called. Do you know what Dalton's law is?
Yes, it's the
It's a law of-
conglomerate of the gases.
No, it's just simply equal pressures. Yeah, it's a law.
The
of equal
conglomerate of the gases.
pressure. It's nothing to do with what you're talking about or what we
It has
both
everything to do with it because it's the mixture of gases in the same system. Are you denying that there's a mixture of
So,
gases in the same
I
system
need you
now?
to explain why the gas
Dude,
at the ground.
Are you?
doesn't
You're not
reach the
answering
top.
me. You're not answering me. Are you denying that there's a mixture of the gases in the same system, Phil?
Of course, I'm not denying that.
So Dalton's law then it applies.
No, Dalton's
And what
law
does-
is
and what
a way of measuring that.
And what does Dalton's law specify for these pressures?
It says that you add the pressures.
It has a percentage
it-
of pressure based on the.
You add the pressures, the different pressures. Different gases will have different pressures.
Great.
And
Pressure gradients.
No, that's not how it works.
Oh.
It's actually homogeneous.
What?
That's part of gas behavior, mate.
So,
you would
no, I
understand
need
the
to know
different
what gas
densities?
behavior.
So the
what-
different
which part
densities of gas.
behavior.
So the different densities of gases would give different behaviors, different percentages of movement.
No. Oh my
But that's
god.
not what
Draco,
happens.
can you show some respect and shut up while I'm talking, please?
But
You weren't talking.
that's
We are
not- but
talking.
that's
Me
not
and
what
Professor
happens.
Bal are talking.
But that's not what happens, Flatzoid. I want to know.
That is what happens. We can
No,
demonstrate.
I want to
this.
know what gas behavior specifically causes would stop the gas from at 14.7 psi from rising to 100 kilometers. Why would that stop?
All-
What stops it?
The gas behavior, temperature, pressure, and area. They all intermingled with each other. They are together. You know, like you got your ideal gas law for a reason.
Yeah, the ideal gas law applies in small containers, so it wouldn't apply to the atmosphere.
Your atmospheric gradient actually relies on the ideal gas law with a Boltzmann's constant.
No.
Yes.
Listen-
What's the Boltzmann constant? What's Boltzmann's constant, Phil?
Boltzmann's curve is a way of describing energy compared to the amount of particles.
Thank you. So the gas, the
How
amount of
did that
gas
work?
due to the area and the temperature change gives you your pressure gradient. Thank you very much.
No, it doesn't actually.
Phil,
Okay, so-
you literally just saying "nuh-uh" while I'm explaining it to you over and over. In
You
different
didn't
ways.
explain it. You didn't explain it at all.
Okay, what is temperature?
I need to
and
know the
pressure-
actual.
Is
No, stop
pressure?
for a minute. Let me finish. What stops a particular gas particle from reaching from going from the ground to 100 kilometers? Let's take a particular gas particle. What stops it?
When you have pressure and temperature inversely proportional to one another, what happens?
No, I just want to know what stops a particular gas particle. Don't ask me questions. Just answer my question.
Everything. The area
What?
is expanding, so the volume is expanding. It's losing pressure. It's losing temperature. Therefore, it cannot have enough collisions to have a higher pressure.
It's losing kinetic energy. Would you agree with that?
gas loses kinetic energy on an atomic scale.
There is another scale.
Molecular, yeah?
Yeah.
Molecularly.
Okay.
So in other words, if it's very hot, it's jiggling around a lot. And if it's
Good.
cold, it's moving around less. This is
Yes,
simple
good.
gas behavior, mate.
And if it gets really cold,
Yeah, it moves slower.
it moves around much, much less, doesn't
But
it?
gas is what you called elastic collision. It only changes direction with collision. So therefore, if a gas is going up and you still find gas pressure there, that means it's hitting off of something.
What do you mean it's hitting off of something?
It can only change direction with a collision.
Or with force.
We both agreed that it would slow down the higher up it's gone.
Not to
because-
stop. It would never stop though.
Well,
Can you show
it's
me
not going-
anywhere?
No,
Can
of
you
course
show
it's
me
not going to
anywhere?
stop.
Yeah, can you show me anywhere with 0 Kelvin?
But there'll be some. No, of course not. But there's going
So
to
there
be.
we go.
No. Listen, who says the gas at 100 kilometers is stopped? It doesn't
You
mean that
are
it keeps
claiming-
moving upwards. It can move in all directions, can't it?
Yeah, that's what gas does. It's gas behavior. It moves in all directions constantly.
Right. Good. So the gas that's at the bottom, let's follow a particular gas molecule, would lose its kinetic energy as it goes up. Because, like you agree, it gets colder and colder and move less, right?
Moves less moves less, but it still goes the same direction constantly
Like you know,
until it
kinetic-
hits until it has another collision. It can only change direction with collisions. It's elastic collisions, mate.
No, but eventually it'll get to the point where it just doesn't have kinetic energy to get any further.
False. We just said that it can never reach 0 degree Kelvin, so it can
No,
never
but that's-
reach a
that
point where it
explains
would
it.
just stop moving.
I didn't say it stops. I just said that to a point. Let me show you a picture, okay? Let me share something else with you. Okay, and then we can discuss it in terms of this. Okay. Just 1 second.
You're not sharing your screen, Phil.
Yeah, it's all right. No, I'm just preparing it first.
Right.
All right, let's have a look at this, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you see that thin blue area above the ground, above the earth?
Yeah, it's caused by the atmo being thicker.
Okay, so you can see that thin blue area. And then you can see the really black area that's above it.
Much less air, yeah.
Why isn't that blue area just expanding into the black area?
Because it's in the same system.
Now, what's stopping it?
Gas behavior.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but you're not giving me specifics about what's stopping.
Phil, maybe you don't get it. The gas is moving slower when it's higher up, correct?
Yeah, so that's why it's
Listen.
in that blue area, right?
And there's less
Doesn't go.
collisions.
Not much of it. Not
There's
much of it
less-
goes into the black area, right?
There's less collisions higher up. Remember, Phil?
Of course, there's less
Less-
collisions. A
less
hell of a lot less gas.
Yeah, and less
Yeah.
molecules, Phil. So that's why you
Naturally.
have that black area.
But why? Why?
Why?
Flatzoid, doesn't the blue stuff move into the black stuff?
Gas behavior, it's in
Keep
the
saying
same
gas-
system. Are you
You keep
are
saying
you
that.
same
Casting
system?
spell.
Do you know the
Now-
difference
now-
between
now-
no,
all
Phil,
right,
do
let's-
you know
all
I'm
right,
gonna ask you a
let's-
question now. I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you know the
Yeah.
difference between a separate system and a single system?
What's a separate system would imply that there's more than one system, okay?
According to your globe, the Earth is an open system which is separate to the universe, which is an isolated system. So two separate systems. According to the second law of thermodynamic, what happens when you remove the partition between the two systems?
First of all, Earth is a closed system.
It's nothing to do with that.
It's not a closed system because
Yes,
you
it
claim
is.
to have astronauts leaving the Earth.
It's not relevant.
Yes. What is a closed
Come on,
system in
let me just
thermodynamics?
finish this with Flatzoid.
What's a
Look,
closed
sorry.
system? What's a closed
ahead.
system in thermodynamics, Phil? Because you agreed with him it's a closed system. What is a closed system in thermodynamics?
Well, it just means that matter doesn't get in or out, but energy can.
Thank you. So where are the astronauts claiming to go?
Well, up here in that black area.
So leaving through a closed system, Phil. Matter.
No, no.
We're nothing compared to mass of gas and
Hang on,
Earth.
let me finish
Hey,
this.
come on, let's
So-
do this, please.
So, Flatzoid, you understand what a model means?
Yes. That's got nothing to
Do you
do with
understand
what
that
we
it's,
talk about
do you
thermodynamic
understand
law.
that it's, do you understand that it's modeled as a closed system, not that it is a closed system?
Yes, because it has to be modeled as a closed system because it violates natural law. Congratulations.
No, Pete, that's not what's happening. It's
That's
modeled
exactly
as a
it.
closed system. It's modeled as a closed system because compared to all of that mass on the Earth, very
Sorry.
little of it ever
Sorry.
leaves.
Sorry. According to thermodynamic systems, a closed system says no matter may leave or enter the system. Not little bit of percentage of amounts or large.
Listen.
No matter can leave. Do you understand what no matter means?
Try to follow what I'm saying, okay?
Dude, I'm teaching you thermodynamics
No,
here
no,
as we're going
you're
along.
not.
You
You're
don't
not
even know what a
teaching
closed
anybody
system is.
He's
Just
literally
listen.
a teacher.
What's a closed system? What's a closed
Listen,
system in thermodynamics
listen.
again? No, you
I
listen.
told you.
What's
I
a closed
told you,
system in
matter
thermodynamics?
doesn't enter or leave the system. That's a closed system. Okay.
So is Earth a closed system?
Not ideal.
Technically, no. But modeling,
Thank you.
it's modeled as a closed system.
So because it violates natural law. Exactly. Thank you very much.
No, nothing to do with it.
What would happen to an open system if it was based in thermodynamic systems, like entropy law? What would happen if it was an open system, Phil?
Technically, it is an open system. In other words, the gas particles actually do leave the Earth.
Again, Phil, what would happen based on thermodynamics if it was an open system? What would happen?
Nothing more than what's happening now.
No, thermodynamics, the law of entropy says the
No,
gas
it doesn't.
will fill the available. It's called increase in entropy. Are you claiming entropy to be? Are you saying entropy is bunk? Are you literally saying entropy is bunk here?
Entropy is to do with has got to do with the entropy of energy. Okay.
And gases. Have you ever seen the? Have
No.
you ever gone?
What?
Ooh, I can bring you up actual.
It's got to do with the energy.
Classes from MIT talking about gases and kinetic
I've
energy in
seen
thermodynamics.
what you got, and what you're looking at there, Pete, is a model.
No, thermodynamics is not a
Okay.
model. It's a natural law. Do you know the
Related
difference
to
between
energy,
a model?
not matter. Gases are matter.
Just
Do you
like
know what
gravity.
the difference? Do
laws
you know
are
what the
models.
Do you know what the difference
So,
between
Keith-
natural law and models are?
So, Keith, what would stop something from moving into that black area, like a spacecraft?
It's the same system. It's not moving
No,
anywhere.
what would
There's still
stop
gas
it?
there.
What would stop a spacecraft from moving into that system, up into that black area?
Based on reality or on your reification?
I'm just talking about
fake model.
you just have a look at you agree that black area exists, right?
Yeah, it's just less
What
atmo for the light
yes,
to not
so
be
what
able
would stop,
to light
so what
it
would
up.
stop a spacecraft from getting, or a satellite from getting in there, from getting up there?
Okay, so we're basing it on the globe then.
No. I just want you to know what would just answer specific.
There's no
questions.
such thing as a spaceship to be able to go in and out. That's the whole point. You're
Would a
trying
spaceship be able to go into this black area that we're looking at? Obviously,
if it's
you
the
can
same
see it,
system,
can't you?
yes. If it's the same system, yes.
You can see that from a high altitude balloon, can't you?
If it's the same system, yes.
Yeah, so a spacecraft can get up there.
In the same system, yes. Not if it's a separate system. According to a globe, it's a separate
Why?
system, Phil.
No, who said it's a separate system?
Earth is you just said an open system.
The pressure gradient just keeps going on and on and on.
You just said the Earth is a open system. Do you know what a system means, Phil?
Technically speaking, it is, yes.
So it's a separate system, Phil.
To what?
The Earth is separate to the universe.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not
not.
The
isolated
Earth
from the
inside
universe.
the universe.
Yeah. We're all in
The Earth
space
is a
right
system
now.
within the isolated system of the
Two
universe.
separate systems.
No,
Congratulations.
they are in.
It's like-
They are literally inside each other, my guy.
Two separate systems. So you telling me if
So
you
are your
take-
bones not part of your body?
If you let's take a
Are your bones different from your body?
Is my refrigerator?
Your
not
bones
in
are
my
inside
kitchen?
your body.
if you take a
Answer the question.
it's a false equivocation. Now,
No, it isn't.
if you take a fish tank, or let's take a vacuum chamber, and you stick a balloon inside there, is that balloon the same system as the vacuum chamber, or is it a separate system, Phil?
Well, they're both in that vacuum chamber, so they're both inside a system. Yeah.
Sorry, is the
but
balloon the
strictly
same system? No.
Well,
Is the balloon the same system as the vacuum cleaner? Or
well,
is
you
it a
could call them
system?
separate systems.
It is a separate system. Now, what happens when you pop that balloon, Phil?
Well, obviously if there's sufficient energy, the gas will expand into the
If there's
vacuum.
sufficient energy, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Well,
much.
clearly it's not happening here, though, is it?
Because it's the same system, Phil.
Can you define system?
It's a closed dynamic system. Therefore, all the gas behavior we see, your pressure gradients, is based in the same system. It's
But
in
the gas
same
isn't
system. It
expanding to
cannot
fill the
leave.
area
Yeah, but-
like you're saying it should.
It cannot leave the system boundary because the system boundary is
But
physical.
why? Why can't all that blue stuff move into the black stuff?
Yeah,
It's in
why
the
is it
same
not doing it?
system, Phil. There's less
What's
of
that
it
got to
there.
do with it? What's that got to do with it?
Again, can
Why
you
is there
please
less of it
demonstrate
there?
to me? Okay, you know what I'm going to say? Since I can explain to you every detail that's going on, you still don't get it. Can you please demonstrate to me how you can have gas pressure without containment? How's that?
Gravity's a container,
Craig, do you have
so that's a
that?
straw man.
Do you have
That's
that?
pretty easy.
That image of the nuclear reactor?
Well-
Ionized gas is already in
No,
an arc
no,
reactor,
you
which
don't-
is a
you don't
container,
need-
by the
Can-
way. Congratulations.
Just
Can you
don't read-
define containment?
And do we
Hang on, let
breathe
me finish
ionized
this.
gas? And do we breathe ionized gas, by the way, Draco, guys? No, we don't.
Doesn't
But please
matter.
don't bring this.
Let me finish
Don't bring
this.
these really ignorant arguments here because you guys are really showing you dumb. I'm sorry.
Pre-dismissal without even listening.
Listen,
I already
Okay.
know the argument. I've just debunked it. Ionized gas in an arc reactor. It's in a container, and we do not breathe ionized gas. Thank you.
yes, you do actually.
Brief.
That's a different argument. However, I've lost my train of thought now.
By the way, guys, I can't go on
I'm
too
sorry,
long.
Phil.
I've got work in a few hours.
Okay, how long have you got?
Maybe another half an hour.
Right, okay.
Okay, so let me see.
So I'm waiting for you to show me how you can have gas pressure without a container.
Okay, good. All right, well, that's pretty easy. Go and read a barometer on the wall. Look around.
Barometer is
see
a container. A barometer is a container. Try again.
The barometer's open.
No, is that the same container as the Earth? Is it?
No, it's a different system. Show
Right,
me
okay.
a barometer without
So
container.
when
please.
you hang on, when you go and read the pressure on a barometer, and you look around you, where's the container?
Say again.
You're saying that the pressure on the ground. What causes the pressure on the ground?
The gas colliding
With what?
with everything at the ground. That's what
So-
gas does. It collides with each other. It collides with everything it hits the surface to.
What kind of system is a barometer?
causes the pressure then at say 10 kilometers?
When you take a barometer at 10 kilometers, you got a surface wall to hit the pressure, to measure the pressure, correct?
No,
The gas is there. The gas
but
is
what's
there to
causing
hit
the pressure
off
that's-
of the barometer.
If the barometer wasn't there, would there still be pressure?
Yes.
Well, what's that pressure
In the
caused
same-
by?
The gas colliding inside
what?
the system. Other gases.
With what?
Other gases.
With what?
Other gases.
Which gases?
A mixture. Dalton's law, remember? It's a mixture of gases, mate.
Okay, and why are there less gases up at higher altitudes than lower
Because
altitudes?
you little children don't understand. With area, your pressure decreases. With
But
temperature
there's
change,
no
your
difference
pressure
Yes,
in area.
it decreases homogeneously.
So you morons don't understand the same system has pressure gradients. Now I'm asking you
No, it
to
doesn't.
show me
Why does it have a pressure gradient? What's causing it?
Last time. Demonstration of gas pressure without containment, please.
Well, I mean, that's a
Told
straw
you.
man, so we don't
Don't
need to
read the
do that.
barometer.
That's a straw man. We don't claim there's no containment.
Yes, you do. You claim it's an open system, so therefore no containment.
Gravity
It's
is the
a
container.
Don't you know
technically
your model?
open system that behaves primarily like a closed system due to this little tiny force that we call gravity.
So
Right.
gravity is not a force, and gas
Gravity
cannot be held
creates a
down by
force.
It is an
gravity.
Gravitational
force.
force.
Well,
Show me
clearly something's
gravity.
holding that blue stuff down.
Show me gravity holding gas down indefinitely. Please go ahead.
There you go.
He's
There's
doing
that
it right
picture
now in the
there.
picture. Yeah.
No, show me a demonstration.
Well, that's a
Where
pretty good
gravity
Walk
demonstration.
is holding
outside. Are you
gas
breathing
down.
oxygen?
there.
If so, there you go.
Look at the
Maybe you
picture.
don't know. Okay, listen here. First of all, maybe you don't understand what demonstration means. You
Well, that's
pointing to the
demonstrating
sky.
it.
That's a.
That's a
you
demonstration in front of you.
No.
A
You
photo
pointing-
is a demonstration.
For fuck's sakes, let me talk, you moron. You're pointing to the sky.
triggered.
You're pointing to the sky and having a belief that violates natural law because your
No, it doesn't.
contradictory statement to show that doesn't
It
mean
doesn't
it's a
violate law.
demonstration. Show me an actual demonstration.
How
where
exactly?
you can have gas
This
pressure without
photo.
a container. Thank you.
We don't say there's gas
Clearly
pressure
the-
about a container. It's a straw man.
That you know that photo you're showing.
Yeah.
You know what that's proving? It's a pressure gradient inside a contained system.
Why
you.
is that gradient there?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I explained that gas behavior, you morons.
Gas behavior
I have
doesn't
to
answer
say
the
the
question
Chinese
as to why there's a
There
gradient.
is absolutely no reason at all in a homogeneous system without some kind of outside force for gas to just naturally settle at lower altitudes than higher altitudes. None at all. You have
Okay,
to
you know
explain
what?
why that happens.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything, Craig, until these guys demonstrate to me gas pressure being held down
Ah, so you're avoiding the
Indefinitely.
Have a look
But-
at
okay.
have a look at the
without
photo.
container.
But
Have a look
again,
at
I
the
said
photo.
demonstration.
we don't say there is no container. Gravity is the container, and we can demonstrate gravity exists.
I'm waiting.
But the picture's a pretty
You're
good
looking at-
demonstration.
You're
of
waiting
our
for
claim.
evidence that's not going to exist because that nobody claims that that's the case.
Yeah,
You're
we're not going
claiming
to
it's
prove
an
a
open
straw
system,
man to
that-
you. We're not going
Are
to
you
prove a
guys
straw
claim?
man to you.
So you guys, okay, so you guys not saying gravity doesn't. pull
Gravity
gas
is
down.
not a rigid container that stops anything and everything from leaving.
Are
That's
you
why
claiming-
it behaves
are-
like an open system.
Are you claiming or not that gravity pulls gas down or not?
It does.
Anything with
Oh,
mass
Demonstrate
is
it.
That blue
attracted
stuff is
by
there.
something else with mass.
Demonstrate. No, I want a demonstration.
The
Yeah,
pressure
look at the
gradient
photo.
outside.
Here's your demonstration.
No, that photo proves we're in containment. I want you to
No, it
demonstrate.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It shows you a,
Guys,
it
have
shows
you
you a
realized-
bunch of blue stuff
Where's
being
the
held
container?
down. Why isn't that
Have
blue
you-
stuff moving up into the black area?
Have you guys realized these guys have not been
Where's
able
the
to show an
container
actual
in that
Where
picture?
demonstration?
where's the barrier? What barrier is stopping all that gas from just going into space?
I'm sorry, the burden of proof is on you to show us gas
No,
pressure
it
being
isn't.
held down without containment.
No, it isn't. That's not. We don't
But
have
that's a
to
straw
prove
man.
that because we don't
Yeah.
claim that that's the case.
We don't.
Okay,
We don't
let's
need to
take
demonstrate.
let's take a
straw man.
fish tank. Let's take a fish tank of sulfur hexafluoride. It's a very dense gas, correct?
Mhm.
Why does it still disperse with time?
What would happen if you made it minus 63 degrees?
Yeah, wouldn't
Would it
disperse
disperse
at all.
then?
It disperses at all. It can only stop
No,
dispersing.
no.
at
If it
0
was
degree
minus
Kelvin.
63, if it was minus 63 degrees, it would not disperse at all.
No.
Show us.
Why?
Show us. Well, because it goes
I
from
did that in
liquid.
physics
The
class
first
myself.
claim.
Yeah.
Disperse.
No, it doesn't go to liquid. It'll still
Okay,
stay a
then it
gas.
was then it was
Yeah,
still
it just
dispersed.
stays more dense.
No, it won't.
and
It's
stays
because
in
it's
the
because
container.
why you said before, not sufficient kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right?
Full.
There's a relationship
Full.
between kinetic energy
Full.
and temperature.
Full sulfur hexafluoride will always disperse. It just takes longer to disperse. So I'm
Incorrect.
going to
It
idea.
won't
Since
when
you
it's
made
depends
this
on
certain
the temperature.
temperature.
sorry, you made this claim, Full. So I'm going to tell you this. Go to your video. I'll go to your channel. Do this, and keep it indefinitely unlike that. Let's see if it's not going to be able to disperse. Go ahead.
If we kept it at like 63 degrees, it wouldn't disperse ever.
Show us. This would be the first
it
in
won't.
history. Go ahead. Show us. Make
Uh,
a claim. You make a claim, you can back it up. So show us. That will be a
You
brilliant.
first make a claim.
Show us. Wait. Show us.
Well, how come I
to
show
show,
you in the-
to show you
now?
what? That insufficient
No.
kinetic energy stops
I
something
can-
from leaving?
Show us how you can do that. Sulfur hexafluoride at minus 60 degrees stays
Easy.
in the
We
fish tank
already know the
indefinitely.
boiling point. We know the boiling
Just
point
look at
of
the
sulfur
boiling point of
hexafluoride
sulfur
is negative
hexafluoride.
64 degrees Celsius. If you bring
So-
it down to negative 63 degrees Celsius, it's going to be in almost a liquid. It will not be moving fast enough to just disperse as a gas.
So it will disperse then with time. It just takes longer.
No, it just wouldn't.
If you have infinite amount of
So-
time under your belt, maybe.
So
So
during
are you
that
going
long
to
time,
are you guys going to actually demonstrate that it will stay there
so
indefinitely?
what's holding?
or are
so
you
what's
going
holding
to run away from this?
So what's holding all that stuff in for however long it takes? What's holding that sulfur hexafluoride in that container? What's
Nothing.
holding it
It's
down?
moving in all directions. It's
No,
bombarding.
but what's
into other-
holding the gas down in that container?
You want me to answer you, but you talk over me. It's bombarding with other gases as well.
And that's stopping it from leaving the container?
Yes. It's
Oh,
called
so there's
collisions.
a barrier of gas that's just
It's
stopping
called-
it from leaving.
Draco, it's called collisions. So as soon as it has a collision,
Yes, I
it
know very
changes
well
direction.
how gas works.
Now, when the gases are moving, it's denser. It just takes longer to disperse into the surrounding system.
But why
Now, I
is it
love
there
You
in the
guys,
first place?
Yeah, but why
How-
does it need to have time to disperse? Why doesn't it just instantly go?
okay, so again,
What
you
barrier is there?
guys made a claim. We've all
What's
heard
the
it.
barrier?
They're going
You
to
first
do
make a
us.
claim.
They're going to
What's
show
the
us a
barrier?
demonstration. They're going to make a demonstration showing us
Answer the
that
question,
you can have
Flatzoid.
sulfur
Where's the barrier?
hexafluoride in a fish tank hold down indefinitely. Remember this claim.
Can I
Answer
ask
the
a question
question,
that I've
Flatzoid.
asked?
What barrier
Okay,
is
I got a super
stopping
chat.
the
I got a
gas
sup-
from leaving?
I got a super chat for Craig. Thank you,
Yeah, go
Godzilla,
ahead.
very much for your $5 for it. It says, Craig, serious question. Which came first for you, breathing or lying? I mean, you're such a lateral.
Well, I don't lie, so it's not my fault if dumb people think facts are lies.
Okay, but again, thank you very much for the super chat, Godzilla. But yeah, so guys, you made a claim. Sulfur hexafluoride can be held down indefinitely in a fish tank when you cool it down. So I would be awaiting this awesome demonstration because it'd be the first demonstration in history for this ever to exist.
So are you claiming that at a high temperature, the sulfur hexafluoride will disperse quickly?
If it moves fast, that disperses
Oh,
quicker.
really? So then why doesn't all of that gas in the atmosphere disperse into space? What's stopping it?
It's in the same system, you dumb fuck.
That is not an adequate explanation because if it was in the same system, it would instantly disperse.
Yeah, you're claiming
Without
that
any
the
outside
gas will
force.
disperse equally in all directions, then saying, but it doesn't because it's in a system. But
Draco,
will it
what
do
happens
it
when you
or
pop a
won't?
balloon?
What is
What happens when I pop a balloon?
What is
The
causing
container
the
holding-
pressure gradient?
The container. Hold on,
There
Craig.
has to be something actually physically causing that
Craig,
pressure gradient.
Craig, he just actually really helped me. When you pop a balloon, the gas disperses because the container that was holding it is no longer there.
So, making my point then, congratulations. So,
How?
if the
Where-
Earth is contained...
what is stopping that gas from leaving right now?
So, if the Earth is contained, please explain to me how it would disperse into the surrounding system if it is contained.
Because gravity is not a perfect, rigid container like the walls of a balloon. And in fact, even the walls of a
Again,
balloon are
you
not a
haven't
perfect,
shown
rigid container.
you haven't shown gravity holding down gas indefinitely.
We
You
have
made a
the Earth.
where? No,
There,
that
look
is
at look at
pointing
look
and
at that
belief.
blue area. Look at that blue area
Stop
in
being
front of you on
dishonest,
that photo.
please. If you're going to carry on being dishonest like this, then this is over. I want you to
Not being
demonstrate
dishonest.
your sulfur
I have
hexafluoride
demonstrated
as you
it to you.
claimed. No, you haven't. Where? You haven't shown
The
one
blue
demonstration
area,
yet.
that point that you can see above the Earth, is being held down. It's
Do you
not
know-
dispersing into the black area. Something is holding
you
it
sa-
down.
Are you
What is
saying
holding
there's
it down?
Are you saying there's no gas in that black area?
Of course there is,
a
but very little.
very
Yeah,
small amount.
one hydrogen molecule per meter
And-
cubed or something.
And is there a wider area for the gas to fill there? Full?
Well, it's a huge area for the gas to fill, but that blue area contains a lot of gas. Why isn't all of that equalizing?
Because it has less moles and more area to fill, Full. That's why it's called less pressure, Full. Now again, you
No, but
guys
this-
made a claim.
No,
you
because
can
it should be
demonstrate gas
equalizing to
pressure
have
being
no
held down
gas
indefinitely
anywhere.
by gravity, so please provide this demonstration.
According to your
Something
showing
is
you the
stopping all
demonstration.
that blue stuff from moving into the black area. What?
Gas behavior in the same system, Full.
Gas doesn't have special
what-
like properties. It's
What
matter that
behavior?
reacts to forces. Simple as that.
When you enlarge an area, the pressure decreases, correct? So when you
why
enlarge
is
the
Where's
the
area,
the
pressure
larger
on
area?
so much
The larger
less?
area to what? Hold on. Let me have this. Larger area to what? The area is the same at all points for the atmosphere.
where does the gas originate on Earth?
Where does
Gas doesn't originate anywhere
Yeah,
on
it's
Earth.
just in the
It's always
atmosphere.
been here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so it just pops out of thin air. Is that what
No,
you're saying?
it's always
No,
been
it's always
here.
been here.
It's always been.
What happens with photosynthesis, guys?
It takes in one gas and photosynthesis is energy from the sun to make sugar.
Yeah, it takes in carbon dioxide.
Yeah,
uses energy from the sun,
you
but
don't mean
Okay,
photosynthesis.
and
you
last time
mean,
I checked, and last
you
time I
don't mean
checked, the tree
photosynthesis.
is not
You mean
100.
something else.
And last time I checked, the tree is not 100 kilometers in the sky, correct?
Yeah, but they're not
Yeah.
giving out any more gas than they take in. It's like you breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. You're not like adding
Other way
extra
around.
gas to the area. There's not more gas because you're breathing out.
I never said
the
that.
trees
I
are
never said
taking
that.
in the same amount that they're giving out. There's no extra gas being created.
I never said that. Where's the
That you
conglomerate
literally
of the
just did.
gases? Where's the conglomerate of these cycles of these gases, Craig?
Where's the conglomerate of these cycles?
Doesn't make any
That's not
sense.
even a question, a sentence that has any meaning.
Well, he's going
Where-
off of.
On what area on Earth is there most amount of gas?
That's our
Closest to
entire
the
point.
surface.
There is
the
more gas
ground.
at the bottom because there's a pressure gradient because of gravity.
Exactly.
No, you
See
guys
that
have not
blue
checked-
area? That's most of the gas. That's
Okay.
more than 99% of
This is-
all of the gas.
This is getting
That's the
retarded.
area.
You guys are. I have to repeat myself over and over. You
Okay,
guys
so
made
then,
a claim.
so let's
You
make
guys
this
made-
very, very
you
simple,
made-
Flatzoid. Let's make this.
You made a claim. I muted him. I'm going to do my closing statement and then I'm leaving because you guys are rude. You made a claim.
Oh, we're not being
and I'm
rude.
gonna
I
keep
wanted
you-
to. I wanted.
And I'm going to keep you to it. Full bell. Would you please do me a favor and actually go and do your demonstration that you said you can do? Take sulfur hexafluoride, stick in a fish tank, and please make sure you make it as cold as you want and see if it's not going to be able to disperse. How's that? Will you do
It
this
doesn't.
demonstration?
It takes
Will you-
time for it to disperse.
Will you do this demonstration for us, please, Phil?
No, I won't be doing that.
Yeah, because you can't, because it demolishes
No,
your
no,
claim.
No,
I-
because it's
I-
a waste of
Congratulations.
resources.
because I would be wasting a lot of money for nothing.
But
No,
it,
it's
it do-
because there's no demonstration that you can
Flatzoid,
do.
even
No,
if we
because
did this
I don't feel like
demonstration, you
wasting
wouldn't
my money.
accept it, and you know it.
But Flatzoid, why
No
doesn't
demonstration.
the
you
sulfur?
would not accept it if we did that, so it's not.
I will accept it if you can show it, but it's
No, you
impossible.
won't.
No, you won't. You'll
You
just
will
waste
not.
a few $1,000s for nothing.
Flatzoid.
Appealing to the future guys. They can just tell
Flats-
me what I will
That's not
agree
a
or not.
fallacy.
It's not a Flatzoid.
I said
Flatzoid-
appealing to the future. I didn't say it's a
That's
fallacy.
not a-
I said you're
that's
appealing
not
to
a
the
fa-
future. And
not a
appealing to the future
fallacy.
is a fallacy, by the way.
No, it's not.
It's not a fallacy.
It,
Appealing to the
predictions.
future.
Predictions are what
I am
theories do.
predicting-
I am
Okay.
predicting that you
Craig.
will not accept the results of the experiment, and therefore it's not reasonable
Great.
for us to do it.
Thank you, Face Reality, for your $2 super chat. It says Glowpix in space show blue, white, non-repeatable. Exactly, it's non-repeatable.
So-
There's-
But Craig,
Uh,
I'm
what's
sorry to say, but I cannot work with these nonsense idiots who make claims that cannot back it up. I have
yes,
to go,
I know the truth.
unfortunately.
I can.
Yeah,
I can make claims.
But I have to
can
go
back
onto-
it up.
Okay,
Oh,
can-
so where's
I
your
can back it
demonstration,
up.
Brenda? Where's your,
Well,
where's your
people are
demonstration?
people are talking. So what is your claim about pressure?
I think it's been very clear that you require containment to have gas pressure to exist. So
Is
therefore,
it-
your claim that
Is-
so therefore your
Is it-
claim that gravity can hold gas down indefinitely
No.
has to be demonstrated, but you
that
cannot
blue
do so.
area you're looking at.
So
I said
just can't
demonstration.
even- Just can't
That's a
even.
demonstration.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Flatzoid, I'd like to have one-on-one at some time.
Not with a liar, thanks.
I'm
Professor
not a
Bolt,
liar. I'm not a liar. Don't
wow.
don't cast those
Then
things
go
around.
watch. Then go watch my
Don't-
stream where you
don't-
caught lying live with
I
everybody.
didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
So
Hey,
So-
Flatzoid,
Just a-
could you tell us about the 11 frames, please?
Oh yeah, simple. You see that when I showed all the frames in the videos. And
Oh,
then
you
I
mean
showed
when you
the impact-
removed 11 frames?
And then I showed the impact point.
That is lying. You don't get to call people.
When we showed the impact point,
Come
and
on.
then you went.
You do
and
not
then
get
you-
to call.
And then you went
You
and
do not get to call people a liar.
Right. I thought this had gone quite well until it's kind of broken down at the last minute
Okay,
here.
no, can I
I was
quickly
just
talk?
trying to
Why
get-
are the clouds not
the-
rushing into
Can
the
I
black area?
can I quickly talk while I
Yeah.
was rudely interrupted by Draco? The 11 frames is very simple, guys. All the
Yeah.
frames are there.
no,
And the mere
they
fact-
aren't.
Can you shut the fuck up, you moron?
They are not there.
I'm gonna put it out to you. I'm talking. All the frames are there. Okay.
That's a lie. They aren't there.
Bye. And there we go. Another person lying. Okay. All the frames are there. Every single one of them. Then you go where I show you the inferior mirage taken out. The fact that you guys tell me, oh, you removed our physical Earth curve. Is you conceding it's not physical? Taking an inferior mirage being aka optical, is you conceding your physical curve never existed? It's optical. And that's the whole argument. Thank you very much.
You did take out those 11 frames in the video you showed, though, right?
No, it's 4, and I showed 4, by the way.
I mean, I counted them, but...
No, if you take different frames per second, then you change how much frames it is. They couldn't even decide how much frames it was in the first instance. They started at 25, then they moved to 17, then they moved to 11, back to 17, back to 11 again. So it's all got to do with the frames per second, mate.
But okay, yeah, but I mean, but in the video you showed, you did remove some frames, though, right? That's the point.
It's called editing. If you remove any,
I understand it's called editing, but that's the point that you did in the video you showed. I mean, people aren't arguing about why you did it. They just want
I got
you to
all
admit
the
that
frames.
you did remove from that video you showed. There was 4 missing,
Craig,
right?
I got all the frames in the video. Do I not?
In the video you showed, there's
Yes.
frames missing.
Do I show all the frames in the video first or not, Craig? Because if you're going to lie now, this is over. Believe me.
Honestly, I can't remember. Is my answer to that.
Yeah, I did. So everybody that tells me I'm lying,
I would
I'll
have to
actually just
check
listen on the script.
again. I would have to check the actual video, but
We can show it live now if you want to.
we could do that another time. I mean, I'm not going to call you a liar here, right? You know, the only thing that I want cleared up is that you did, in that video that you showed, you did remove some frames.
That's how you remove an inferior mirage, correct? You have to remove frames to do that, correct?
No.
Okay.
Tell me, how do I remove? So you're claiming you removed the frames that were just what you thought were the inferior mirage. Is that correct?
Listen. How do you remove an inferior mirage without moving the frames?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what you're claiming is the frames that you removed were the ones that you were saying were an inferior mirage. So you wanted to show what it looked like if the inferior mirage wasn't there.
Yep, and after I showed all the frames. If I wanted to be dishonest, I wouldn't have shown anything. I would have just showed it like that without any frames in them, would I not?
Okay. Would you do me a favor and link me the video just so I can, in my own time, just watch it? So that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and call someone a liar unless I've got all the facts and everything. All right. So do me a favor when you get a chance, just link me the video so I can watch it, just so I know what's going on. All right. I've not really been involved in this 11 frames argument. I never have been. All right, because I've never. It was, you know, I counted the frames when I was on a stream with Reds once, but you know, I've never been involved in the actual argument. So do me a favor, link me the video they're talking about. Let me watch it myself and make my own decision. All right.
Shut. I'll send it to you.
So Keith, the black area that's up there that you can see there,
Same system.
Call it space.
Same system.
We call it space. You can
Same
call it whatever
system.
you like. Fine, but we call it
system.
space. Yes, full space.
Full. So since you claim it's space, please demonstrate gas pressure being held down indefinitely by gravity, please.
Well, there you go. See that blue area there? That's blue.
That is not a demonstration.
That's the atmosphere. That's the atmosphere above the Earth. See that black area? We call that space.
Okay, Phil. What does a demonstration mean?
Exactly what you're looking at. See that blue area?
What's the definition of demonstration, Phil?
I'm demonstrating it to you via this photograph.
What is a demonstration for? What's a definition?
I'm demonstrating it to you by this photograph.
Okay,
just like you.
So since
how would I physically demonstrate something to you when you're in South Africa and I'm in Australia? What would we use to show each other what we're doing?
Okay, demonstration, an act of showing something that exists to be true by giving proof or evidence. This demonstration of the need to computer corporata in language that is convincing. The practical exhibition, explanation, and of how something works is performed. So
how would you show me a demonstration from? I'm here in Australia. You're in South Africa. How would you show me a demonstration?
Easy. We live now. You can go or you can do one on your channel and record it and
recording,
watch a physical demonstration happening.
So I'm going to be looking at photographs, right?
A video footage
I mean,
of the gas being held down.
I could just show you Mr. Sensible's video of you know, the pressure decreasing as the thing goes up, showing it being held down by gravity.
Pressure gradient in the same system. He made a claim. Professor Fulbell made a claim that he can take a fish tank of a sulfur hexafluoride, he can make it minus 63 degrees Celsius, and it will
That
never
requires a lot
disperse
of
into the
equipment.
surrounding system. So that's a claim that I would love to see. Thank you.
Okay, now you want a demonstration. You see here. See that blue area there?
Again, that's not a
It's not-
demonstration.
it's-
for
it
stop
is
being
a
That's a
dishonest.
demonstration.
Stop
Hey,
being
come on,
dishonest.
stop
and
calling people dishonest,
stopping-
please. Right?
I will, because
Right.
he made a claim and
Bud.
he's literally
You
ignoring what
firstly
it was.
Right, right,
See
give
that
me
blue
a
area
sec.
here?
Right, if we can clear up what demonstration
That's our
actually means,
atmosphere,
because
most of it. See that black area? We call that space.
Just
So
because you call
clearly
it
space
space
is not
doesn't
fake.
just because you call it space doesn't mean it is
Well-
space. It doesn't mean it
Well,
is
what
a
is it
we
then?
call it?
Doesn't
we
mean
call
it's
it
a separate
space.
system. Again,
no one
I
said it's
can
a separate
demonstrate-
system.
I
It's
can
still
demonstrate.
part of the
I
isolated
can
system
demonstrate.
everything's in.
I can demonstrate. In reality, every time we have to use gas pressure, it requires containment. Hence, even a barometer, he has a surface wall, so you can measure this pressure. Now,
Hey.
I can measure pressure gradients in a container. You guys are unable to even bring anything other than making claims and saying, "Oh, I point to the sky, therefore demonstration." No,
I'm
mate,
showing it to you.
that is a dishonest belief.
I mean,
I'm
no,
showing
that
it to
is a
you.
demonstration to
See
be
that
to be
blue
fair.
area?
No, that's
But
not.
That's most of our atmosphere.
All right,
See
I want
that
to
black area?
ask a
Call it
question
space.
that I've been asking for a long time and no one has ever given me answer. Keith Flatzoid, how many walls does a container have to have?
One.
One.
Yeah, a plate is an open container.
So would the surface of the globe Earth not be a container?
It would be an open container,
Uh-huh.
but where's the gas? So an open
Well,
system then,
so
where would the gas go to, Craig? To the surrounding
so how
system?
many walls does a container
Well, it's
that
not doing
contains
it.
gas have to have?
Usually 4. That's been
Always-
closed.
always
it's called
4?
a closed. It's called a closed system for a reason.
So a container
No,
that
you can't
contains gas
remove
has to
out the
have
boundary.
4 walls.
It has to be closed. So in other words, contained.
And can the container be something other than a physical wall? Can it be a something that creates a force, for instance?
Like ionized gas in an arc reactor.
No. Like
Or its equivalents.
Like using. No, I'm not talking about that. Like using
gravity.
sound waves to capture sound to capture gas in a certain area, or to levitate fluid, or and hold it in a particular area. That I can hold gas or a liquid in a particular area using a force like sound waves. So
Force holds things. Force holds
Yeah.
things, yes. But that's not what the thing is that's claimed on your globe. Your
well,
globe is
we
claimed
claim that gravity creates a
holds-
force. Yeah,
Gravity is acceleration.
yeah,
Great.
which creates
And
a force.
can you
yeah.
demonstrate this? And can you
Can
demonstrate
we
this?
demonstrate
Because every
gravity?
time-
Yes, we absolutely can.
Oh, okay. Demonstrate gravity holding gas down indefinitely, please.
That blue area.
Yeah, the
Again,
Earth is,
I'm
is,
asking
the,
for a
is the
demonstration.
demonstration.
This is
Well,
this
what
is
you're
going
doing
around-
what you're doing is creating a straw man of gravity, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not.
You are, because what you're doing is asking us to do something which can only be done on a massive scale, like the Earth, with a large gravitational force. We couldn't show you something on Earth holding gas because the Earth would be busy holding that gas because it's much bigger. So what you're doing is asking us to do a demonstration of something that we don't claim gas
Sorry.
will do, which is a straw man of the claim. What
Sorry,
we do,
sorry.
what, no, hold on, let me finish. What we do claim is that gravity creates a force that is proportional to the product of two or more masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That is our claim and nothing else. And that means, if that claim is true, the atmosphere of Earth will be held down by the gravitational force of Earth because of the mass of both the gas particles and the Earth and the formula I just explained to you.
Okay,
Which
so I'm
is
going
what
to,
happens
so-
when you're looking at that blue area.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you. Based on that, where's the strongest pull of this force you claim for gravity? Underground,
Closest to the
correct?
Earth. Closest
Closest
to the
to
Earth, yes.
closest center of mass.
Yes, which would explain the gradient.
So
But
if you-
not in the center of mass.
Okay, listen. So if you take an open container like a fish tank and pour sulfur hexafluoride into it, it is closer to the center of mass. So therefore, the strongest pull according to your gravity. Should it disperse or stay there?
other forces can
Depends
exist
on
at the same
kinetic
time.
energy.
Yeah, yeah. More than one force can exist at the same time, but the overall, there will be a prevailing force of putting everything down. And then when you add in all the other forces that would be involved, say the air current in the room. Hold on, let me finish. Like the air current in the room creating forces, the general temperature creating fluctuations in pressure creating forces. When you take all of the forces into account, the sulfur hexafluoride does what is predicted by gravity.
No, so you
Yes.
just admitted that
You
there's
just
no
nutted.
way.
You just nutted an explanation.
Listen,
You don't just get to go
guys
no.
just conceded. You guys just conceded that
No, I didn't
gravity
concede anything. Don't
holding
lie.
gas down. You guys just conceded gravity holding gas down is incapable of being demonstrated. Why? Scale. Congratulations, showing it's once again just a belief and
No,
not
it's not a belief because we can show that gravity
scientific.
does what we say it does. What you're doing is creating a straw man. We can demonstrate that
No.
gravity does what we say it does. We can
So then why is it
demonstrate.
not holding
We can
gas down?
demonstrate as an absolute
It is.
empirical
The
fact
blue area.
that gravity
It's not
has
holding gas down.
creates a force proportional to the product of total mass and inversely proportional to the square distance between them. We can demonstrate that beyond any reasonable doubt that that is a thing. I can show you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of experiments demonstrating that that is the thing. And the result of that thing that we can demonstrate is that the atmosphere has a gradient, like we say, because of gravity. There is no other reason that that gradient would exist the way it does with a homogeneous atmosphere.
Why
Okay, so-
isn't that blue stuff moving into the black area?
I've explained it many times, but
You
anyway,
haven't explained it.
Craig,
You just
Well
said
then,
gas behavior.
guys, we've
That's all
just
you
caught
said.
these guys lying live onto the thing. I haven't explained it, which I've explained at least 10 times to them. But
You
anyway,
just said the word
You
gas
just
behavior.
said-
That's not
guys,
an explanation.
guys, this is what you get when the people can't demonstrate their beliefs for us. They make
I'm
a point.
demonstrating
They
it to
make
you right in front
they
of
make
you.
a point. They make a point and concede what the argument is, and then saying, "Nah,
Flatzoid, you do know that
Making-
picture is
You
a
describe
demonstration, right?
yourself.
Demonstrating it to you right in front of you, Keith. Right in front of you.
That
See that little
photo-
blue area there? That's
that
most of
photo-
our atmosphere. See
that
up there,
photo-
that black area? We call that space.
it proves
Yeah.
containment. Congratulations." That photo you're
Yeah,
showing
the
proves
universe
we
is
have a contained
containing everything.
system.
You're right. The universe contains
That's-
all of the pressure in the universe.
No, that system you're showing there, it's proving to us we're in a
Where's
contained
the
Where's the
container?
container?
The container above that
You-
blue area, is it?
Where's
yeah,
the
it's
container?
above the black area. It's above the
so you
black
think-
area.
Why have we never seen
Above
it?
the black area. How far up?
Why
I
can't
know you're
radar
not
see
high
it?
enough to show us.
Why
yeah,
can't radar
show us
see
the
it?
point the camera up. Let's try and see.
Why can't radar
What?
see this barrier?
Like, this photo only goes up to there.
Oh, shame. Then you
Why-
can't.
why
have
can't-
it.
why
How much
radar
more
see
black
this barrier?
area is there?
I can do exactly the same as you guys. Showing a photo is not a demonstration.
Oh, it
This
is
is a
actually.
demonstration.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Do
when
it.
you actually
Do it.
when you look at what demonstration means, it says it can involve a physical
Okay,
display, a
guys.
step-by-step walkthrough, or the use of examples to clarify a concept or process. This is a demonstration of our claim.
No, this is a demonstration that we're in containment. So what now?
Yeah, the universe
How
is a
is it a
container.
demonstration
I agree with you.
containment?
You claim it.
This is a demonstration we're in containment.
The universe
Really?
is a
So
container.
where
I
is-
agree.
You
with
claim
you.
it.
Why isn't that moving up? Why isn't that blue stuff moving
Because
up
it's in
into the black
containment.
area?
Because
Yeah,
it's in
it's called the
containment.
universe. Right, hold on, guys. He's actually agreeing with us here. He is agreeing that everything in the universe is in a container called the universe. No one's disagreeing with the fact that the Earth's gas is in a container. It's in a container called the universe. That container also happens to contain every other bit of matter in the entire universe.
So then Earth is not a separate system then, is that what you're claiming?
Is my refrigerator a separate
Define
system?
separate.
Wait, hold on. Is my refrigerator a separate system to my kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah. What happens when I open my refrigerator?
You open it up and then it's entropy.
Yeah. So can one
Entropy what?
can one system exist within another system and still be part of that same system?
Yes, and
Yeah.
hence if
And
Earth was an open system,
and this bring this
what-
full circle back, right? What does the second law of thermodynamics state? And this is very important because the second law of thermodynamics states one very simple thing: that the entropy
always
of the
increases into
universe,
the isolated-
that the entropy of the entire universe will always increase.
Always increases.
Only if that process is reversible, which is a very important part that you always seem to miss out.
okay, please go and reverse the entropy of the universe for us, Craig.
The second law of thermodynamics says that it's only if that process is reversible. That's what the second law of thermodynamics says.
So reverse it for us, because that's what you're claiming.
I'm not
yeah,
saying
if
that
you're
I
claiming-
can. I'm just saying that's what the second law of thermodynamics says.
If you claim Earth is an open system
Irreversible, is what I mean, sorry.
inside the universe, a separate system, you are claiming entropy reverses.
No,
Well,
I
it can.
said it meant irreversible.
Can locally.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I don't
We still
think
want
I
to know
actually
why
have
that
any,
why that blue area doesn't move into the
yeah,
black
totally.
area though, and just saying gas behavior doesn't tell us anything.
Gas behavior. You even brought it up with your equation, mate. Congratulations.
Flare behavior.
I showed you entropy in terms of temperature and in terms of energy and temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, and what happens when it go higher up? Do you have the same amount of energy and temperature, Phil?
Well, yeah. So exactly. So as these molecules go higher and higher up, they lose their kinetic energy. It becomes gravitational potential energy.
Do you understand why they are moving like they're moving, Phil? Are they moving
Yeah,
down? Are you claiming that
Yeah,
gas
they
now
do
all
move
of a
down. That's
sudden-
why there's a gradient. of
Listen,
pressure.
listen. Are you
Yes, it moves
claiming that
down
the
as
gas,
well as up.
Sorry, are you claiming that that gas moving up now is all of a sudden deciding to fall back down without a collision?
Sure, of course.
Ah, thank you guys, you just lied. Gas pressure has elastic.
What happens when you
and
throw a ball in
only
the air? Does it fall down?
gas, Ball is not gas. Gas
Why
can
does
only
it?
change. Gas
Has-
can only change direction with collisions, and therefore Phil Bell just showed he's either dishonest or ignorant to what
Well,
gas is.
actually, gas
Just
can
claim
change
that-
directions with a force applying to it as well.
Eventually, gravity.
force? What
Eventually,
force?
gravity will
The force
overcome.
created by
Any
Will
gravity.
force.
overcome the kinetic energy.
Gravity has no direction on gas at all.
Gravity, of course, it
Even
does.
if it
Gas
was
has
a
mass.
force.
You claim
Gas has
that.
mass, so of course
Even
it's
if it
affected by
was a
gravity.
force, even if it was a force, it would have
Gas
no
has
direction.
mass, so of course it's affected by gravity. Of course it
Yeah,
is.
exactly. So eventually, gravity will overcome the kinetic energy.
Yeah, that's
Prove
why
it.
there's a gradient, because the gas goes down, go boom boom.
Prove it for us, Phil.
See that gradient? Go outside and breathe the air. That's the
Right
proof for
there
you
in front
about
of
it.
you.
No,
See the blue area?
No. Prove your claim instead
he's
of pointing
demonstrating
to the
it right
sky,
now.
Phil.
Yeah.
No,
that
that
blue area
demonstration-
proves my
That
claim.
You might claim.
That demonstration on there proves gas has a behavior in a contained system. Congratulations.
No, it doesn't.
What?
It doesn't prove
It
it.
does.
But you
That-
don't explain
of
why
that
it
kind.
has a
You
behavior
can't
of a
explain why
pressure
that
gradient.
blue area
Okay,
is not.
let's release a helium balloon. It goes up until it eventually pops. What happens to that helium after the balloon popped?
Well,
Well,
actually,
obviously,
that's not entirely
Disperse
true.
into atmosphere.
That's not
Does it
entirely
go-
true.
does
The
it
majority
carry on
of helium
expanding?
balloons actually come
Does it
back
carry
down
on
because of a
expanding?
temperature change.
Does the helium balloon, once it exploded, all that helium carry on expanding to fill the available volume?
No,
Well, do you think it goes up into the black area then?
no,
Yes,
it
it
doesn't.
definitely does.
That's why there's a pressure gradient.
Are you claiming there's no gas in that black area, Phil?
There's
No, of course there's gas in the black
So
area.
there we go.
Very
When a
little, though.
balloon
probably no
explodes
helium, to be
and the,
fair.
and the helium expands in all directions up there, why is it not being pulled down by gravity, Phil?
Well, it is.
If
That's
it
why
doesn't
there's a
have
pressure
sufficient
gradient.
kinetic energy, it won't.
How did
It
it
won't
get-
go any further.
Sorry, are you saying that it? the
What
balloon
do you
goes
think is
slower
stopping
and-
all of that? What's stopping it from going up higher?
Sorry, Phil.
Do you think that the loss of kinetic energy could be one of the explanations?
Phil, does a balloon slow down the higher it gets up?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say it would slow down. Yes, of course it does.
So it does slow down the height goes up.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying? A balloon slows down, the height goes up.
naturally, just like a
Okay.
ball does.
Cool.
Yeah, there would be a higher buoyant force nearer the surface, right? So yeah, the acceleration would be slowed down as it got higher. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Cool. I've got everything I needed, but I really have to go, mate. It's 10 to 12.
All right.
Well, have a think about why that blue stuff doesn't
I already
move into
know.
the black stuff. Okay.
I already know.
And do me a
please
favour,
do
send-
the
send-
demonstration
like,
as
gas
well.
behavior. The words gas behavior doesn't do it.
And
Yes,
yeah,
it
do me a
does.
favor,
Please
send
do
me
a
that video
demonstration.
of the 11 frames thing or whatever, so that I can I can look at it myself. All right.
Shot. I'll do that. But
Cool.
yeah, Phil, please, I'll be awaiting your demonstration of sulfur hexafluoride. staying
No, I've told
indefinitely
you
in a
that
fish
that's not
tank.
going to happen. I'm not going to
Yeah.
waste a few $1,000s trying to prove something
actually-
that's obvious.
Well, one of my supporters said he'll actually pay for it if he has to. So
Really? Okay, in that case, I would do it.
It's going to cost £97,000. Just
Highly
make a
doubt
blank
that.
check out
I'll-
to cash.
Yes,
That'd be
I'll
fine.
definitely, I'll 100% do it if one of your supporters pays for it.
Okay. Shot, but I have to go. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
Peace
Have a
out.
good evening. Nice
Flatzoid.
talking to you.
Wow. That was something special, wasn't it, guys?
Okay. Oh, well, I deliberately wanted to hold this frame for a very long time,
Yeah.
and it did, and it worked.
Man, the denial is incredible, and I just the answer when you just ask him, well, what's causing the gradient? Gas pressure, and
Yeah.
he
Gas
started.
behavior.
Gas
Yeah,
behavior.
gas behavior, gas behavior. He started the whole trees make it, but I nipped that in the fucking bud because that is such a dumb argument. Honest, trees don't fucking generate gas. That's not how this works. Oh my god.
There you
Well,
go.
Phil, thank you very much for coming on. And Shamuk,
Oh,
I'm sorry you didn't
thank
get a
you.
chance to have a proper chat with Flatzoid, but it probably
Oh,
saved
look,
you brain
I-
damage. So
Look, I thought I would give him some of the theory behind the second order, but then as soon as I put down the equation, I thought this isn't going to work.
You coordinate him.
Any kind of theory wouldn't work. So you basically have to stick with the practical stuff. And as far as I was concerned, he needs to explain, or any flat earther needs to explain, why that blue stuff doesn't move into the black stuff.
Gas behavior.
gas behavior, obviously. Can one of my supporters on my Discord with some artistic skill make me a gas behavior emoji, please? Because that needs to go for my members. All right, well, thanks very much, Phil. I'm
All right, thank you very much. I'll
and
catch
thanks
you
very
later.
much, Shimoko. I'm going to read the super chats and go to bed. Kids back to school tomorrow and all that.
Okay,
All right,
cheers.
see you later, guys. Well, goodness me. If you weren't wearing facepalm protection, dancing for the super chats, then I'm sorry, but your face is going to be fucking messed up. Oh my. Oh, Roland, you're right. Yes, Roland, you need to get a gas. We need a gas behavior emote. Oh, sorry, Draco. I was just finishing up. This has been a difficult one. So, but thank you, buddy, for coming on as always. And yeah, every Monday, Pat. Goodness me. So there was like 760 people watching at one point. And again, the amount I've made on super chats is just mind blowing. It's a good cardio for me losing weight, by the way. Every time you super chat me, I dance. I'm doing weight training as well, at least with my good arm. So next stream, I might do 5 reps with like, I don't know, 5 kilos every time I get a super chat or something. But the fact that you guys have sent me so many super chats is just mind blowing. I honestly don't know what to say. Just the fact that you're here is amazing. Not you, Gleam. The constant support. Stringer News 1 gets dabs. That just makes me feel loved. This month's going to be a bloody good one, guys. You wait. I'm back in the gear. I'm healthy. I'm thin. I'm feeling, I'm not thin. I'm still a fat cunt, but I'm thinner than I was. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling good. I've got over a lot of my mental health issues, and I'm going to be kicking out the content for this week, this month. So look forward to it. Super chats. Lots. Batman. Batman, who's been a member for 32 months. Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Bruce Wayne. I mean, not Bruce Wayne, Batman, sorry. He says, fight. I accidentally let the Joker out. Help. Look, Bats, I've spoken to you about this before, right? Gotham, it's your problem. All right, I'm busy dealing with the Flat Earthers. Okay, so sorry, but ask Robin, not Jason Todd. He's dead. Steps85 for €5 says, test 123. This is my first super chat ever. Where else if not here, right? Go get him, Craig. Thank you very much. I popped your super chat cherry, or as I said in the chat earlier, I pooped your super chat cherry because I can't spell. And then another €3 from Step says, that was fun once again. Greetings from Germany. Dankeschön. Pat in the chat, wobble up a dub, wobble up a derp derp. Are you kidding me? Member for 14 months says, is the Top Left Award still happening? So Failzoid for Top Left 2023. Yes, Wednesday is the announcement day for the Top Left. Sparky Steve, £5. Hey Craig, ask Flats if he has any past head trauma as a kid from any of the big game animals there. Will explain the derp. I don't think anything can explain it. Design Song 1 for $5 says, fight, he's trying to nail you on pinpoint accuracy where any globe accuracy defeats his entire FE. Yep. Accurate. End of story. String News 1, $2. Navigation by Sea Lion. Oh, no worries, Prof. Phil Bell. You are more than welcome anytime, my friend. Hey, Prof. Phil Bell, can we still do that relativity lecture you're going to give? If you've got time, that would be amazing. I know it's like exam time and stuff at the moment, but if you've got a chance, I would love to have that relativity lecture. James Hogarth for £10 says, Flatzoid, if you took enough accurate flat ordnance survey maps to cover the surface of the Earth and then stitch them together, they would still be flat. Would they still be flat when properly aligned with each other? He wouldn't understand that question, and the answer is no. JSS Tiger for $5 says, Flat Earthers can't measure anything without tape measures. No, apparently you can't measure the distance to the stars because, there's no ruler that's large enough. So, Except, I guess, you'd be able to measure the stars at the edge of Antarctica because the dome with the stars on would be touching the floor. I don't know. All right, Prof. Phil Bell, excellent. I'll email you about it. String News 1 for $2 says, latitude, longitude is not Cartesian. No, it's not. It's a spherical coordinate system. He's a dumbass. Draco Fire, you saw him here. Member for 32 months says, squawk, Polly want a grid, squawk. What about the grid? Squawk, squawk. What about the grid? Yeah, I don't care if there's a grid. I don't need the grid to show the globe is accurate. I barely said anything when he was there, Lubo. Bill Tetley for $5 says, fight the flat shirt, destroying Flerfs across the globe. Sphere Earth is truth. Sphere Earth is life. Damn fucking right. Design Song 1, $5. Does Flatzoid agree longitude and latitude grids on lines on his grid system? He definitely believes in them. Intersect twice or not, yeah. No latitude and longitude system on a flat map aligns with reality. JSS Tiger, $5. And God said, let there be grid. Acid Punch Drunk Gaming for £2 says, I don't have the facepalm protection for this. I am sorry. Not sorry. Sigma Step, $5. Craig, I love you, but this might be the last time I can take Flatzoid on your channel. At this point, he's questioning black if it's really white. I know. Every Monday. Draco Fire for $5 says, GPS satellites are about 20 square meters and orbit 20,000 kilometers away from Earth. If you can somehow spot them with optics, you're lying. We're all liars, apparently. Stringer News 1 for $5 says, I heard that Flatzoid does a ping pong act in Thailand. He makes 11 frames disappear. Whoop, 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 from the Triggered Limey. Oh, thank you, Stringer News 1. Oh, of course, Triggered. You know I did. Roland DeBoer, new member. Welcome to Scrappers, you fucking awesome person. Draco Fire for $2 says, duck, dive, dip, dodge, deflect, deny, decry. Neon Sal for €2. Today's debate, Batman versus the Griddler, is fire. I'm not Batman. He was super chatting earlier. Oh, there's a flat earther sending me money, and he doesn't get to have his message read out, but thank you for your money. Roland DeBurr for £10 says, I'd love to have you debate a Flerf and do nothing but request evidence. Don't budge an inch, don't go on tangents, don't even argue. Just one stream, please. I'd love to see how they handle it. Yeah, that's why I got kicked out of the Tartaria server. I asked for a map. They didn't like that. Design Song 1, $2. Flatzoid, show us the globe where grid hurt you. Javier Protilio Ferdinands for $5 says, you can say anyone in the past was fake and call all evidence fake. That can be applied to anyone. Also, you can track satellites with a microwave camera. Yeah, tracking satellites isn't a hard. String News 1 for $5 says, here FTFE, get yourself a tippy cup. Yeah, fucking spilling shit everywhere. Bill Tetley for $5 says, and a new mouse pad. Do you want to see the mouse pad my wife got me? Man, if only I looked that good, right? Caucasian Sensation upgraded his membership. Thank you very much, my friend. And then for $5 says, if all Flerfs intellect was converted to electricity, it would generate enough power to toast one side of a piece of bread. Lightly. And more Flat Earther money. Thank you very much. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, FTFE let Flatzoid do a tensor. Longhand. Lord Lewis Pooh for $2 says, so now PhD Tony not being here is evidence. Yeah, apparently so. Sarcastic Barman for £2 says, stream is perfect. No, you're perfect. Fucking love you, dude. Lord Luminous Pooh for $2 says, so here's the math you wanted. I can't see it. Yeah, if you can't see that evidence, you know, it's not there, right? Sparky Steve, £5 says, a spray painter telling a nuclear engineer what gravity and general relativity is. Why we should all love the internet. Dear Lord Spaghetti Monster, please help us. Praise his noodly appendage. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5 says, Lord Luminous Pooh for dictator, vote for me and you never have to vote again. Oh, Dave, do you really want to do that? Think about it, Dave. Anthony Fox for $2 says, Flatzoid, how many Flerfs to screw in a light bulb? Prove a light bulb. Go on. Where's your evidence? Yeah, it needs a container. Sparky NJ has been a member for 40 fucking months. Wowzers. FTFE, how did I do my first time against a Flerf? You fucking ruled. Pat in the chat for $2. All the derps are belong to Flatzoid. He has all of the derps. Bill Tetley for $5. OMG, did the king of nut just accuse someone else of nut-eyeing? Yeah, he did, whilst nut-eyeing, actually. Chislix for €5. Flatzoid's last two brain cells are fighting for last place and both are losing. Why? Gas behavior. Word salad. Is Flatzoid brain a closed system? Yeah. To clarify, Earth is considered a closed system. Because it's close enough. Alright? In science, we have things called partial systems, and it's practically a closed system because the amount of matter that leaves and enters is, you know, so close to being exactly the same it doesn't matter. Technically, it's an open system, but, you know, it's closer to being a closed system than an open system. But, you know, nuance isn't a thing flat earthers get. Sparky Steve, £2 says, a spray painter telling a prof what gas is. Cute. Excuse me. Andreas Eldritch for 56. Get in. Since we don't breathe water, are there no waters in the aquarium? And Ted Lacko for $4.99. Ask Flatzoid to show a demonstration of air pressure going to near zero at the top of a container. Good one. Tommy Gronville, 50 Nokia, says, when are we going to get solid positive flat earth? Come on, Tommy. Even if you're asking for a friend, it's not happening. Ted Lacko for $4.99. And Flatzoid hasn't shown gas pressure in a container with near zero pressure at the top. No, and he never could. Sarcastic Barman, once again, for £5. Didn't Flatzoid say gases fill containers, but then says gases won't fill this area because of systems? Yeah, double speak. They accuse us of it, but hey. Nerd Alert for €5. Summarising Flatzoid's argument. There's less gas higher up because there's less gas higher up. Who could argue with that? I mean, he's right. Nathan Bishop for $5. Oh, where'd it go? God, so many super chats. Craig, I'm a huge fan of your channel. How can I participate in one of your live debates? Find a Flerf, come to me, I'll let you debate him. And thank you for the support, it means the world. Free Ron for $2. Play red side-by-side vid proving missing frames. If he sends me that vid, I'm going to do my own analysis. Alright? Because I really haven't looked that far into it, and he said just then that he did show all of the frames in the video and then an edited part, so I need to check out the claim myself. Deus Ex Tomato for 15 months says, I have no issues calling this fool a fucking liar. Yeah, but I've got to be kind of nice. I want to debate him each Monday. Ted Lacko, $4.99. Please demonstrate a gas pressure gradient in a container that goes near zero at the top. Can't do it. Number $1.99. Show gas pressure. Nope, not going to happen. Tim Pryor for $5. You have to stop letting him get away with his gas pressure and tell him to learn the difference between gas pressure and atmospheric pressure. Yeah, they just shout fallacy at that one. So Brad Sweetman for $5 Awesome debate, well done, Craig. It's just gas behaviour. Thank you. Stringer News 1 for $2. Hi, I just woke up from a facepalm coma. Oh, dude, please don't sue me. Facty for $2.79 Canadian dollars. Four-sided container. Interesting. Yeah, I got him to say that on purpose. Draco Fire for $2. Robbed of my platform. Failzoid, you're mad, stupid. Darren DeBaron for $4.99 says, I have spent $4.99 to give you this very special message you'll remember forever. It's helped me through so much. Gas behaviour. Nerd Alert for €2. Here's a free member chat. Oh, fuck, wrong button. Thank you, buddy. The Triggered Limey for £5 says, did I miss the debate? Bloody YouTube notifications. I hope you crushed him. Just as I will be when I reply to this video about me. When I reply to his video about me. Ooh, looking forward to that. If you haven't subscribed to the Triggered Limey, then you should do it. And then the awesome possum Dave McKeegan for £2 says, I might debate Flatzoid about the moon landings. Dave, we need to have a chat about, like, you wanting to hurt yourself for some reason. That's not good. Guys, I hope you had a great night. I absolutely have, as always, because you've been here with me. You amazing fucking people, you. I'll be back later in the week with another debate short episode of Flerfs are Idiots and some more debates with dumbasses. Just because, you know, I love you or hate you, however you see it. I'm going to play you a song of me rapping. And thank you to the person that sent me an email with a large list of typos in this. I will correct it. I've got dyslexia. Enjoy the song.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm warning. Better batten down the hatches, grab some matches and brace yourself for a long day of misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. Go on, Mr. Sensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running headfirst full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere on page 3.
Thank you, Darren DeBaron. Stupidity is not right. Fight the
dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ.
If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do it.
The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hassle of burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, even get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault will knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realise you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit short of a full bowl.
Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. She'll be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? She'll be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you're swinging, flinging feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You've got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind I writ up on your mum's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flower. 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 Fight the flower.